This one wasn't even on this one? It wasn't on the last check?
Oh, no. They're done in the
Oh, you're talking about you're going to be losing.
They're end of the month. Yeah.
Neighbors for what loss?
I just can't win.
I was saying there was a bunch of spots in there, but they haven't.
She keeps.
I'll be here like.
What are you doing? You want the light on?
Yeah. I just can't win, fellas.
Turn this fan on.
Yeah, it's football season.
During the breaks because it gets hot. And so I turn it on during the break and then I turn it back off because you can kind of hear it in the microphone.
Yeah, I uploaded it the other
You know,
day.
and you can hear it just
Yeah.
in your headset. So in the breaks, I go, let me turn this on. Let me crack the door.
I got an exclusive today. That's crazy. It'll be freezing at 4 o'clock.
Well, and I had that vision there, so I wanted to try to keep it down.
Kathy Miller taking her case to the Supreme Court tomorrow.
I was in there.
They're submitting the briefs.
I was in there a week ago.
Yeah,
She wasn't in there.
she's coming on tomorrow.
It was like a Saturday or something like that.
Yeah.
Those 3 Instagram.
Pull this back a little bit.
I think I got all of your audio, because all you needed was those 2 Trump bites and those 3 Instagram things you sent me. right?
Yeah. What did I say?
You sent me Shannon Grove ripping into him about the redistricting.
Right.
The Democrats not being able to answer the questions about redistricting.
Okay.
And then, Cracker Barrel.
Oh, good,
Cracker
good.
Barrel.
Yeah, I'm doing that at the bottom of the hour.
Remember how Teresa was freaking out last week saying that she could, like, the conflict of interest thing, how she had an interview? That's what JR said. He just looked over the door and I was like, oh, it's like you.
I got Kathy Miller coming on. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing, for those subscribing on YouTube. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Monday. Chris Burdick producing on this 25th day of August, and we got a busy Monday broadcast. It is a Monday, so Kathy Abernathy will join us at 4 o'clock. We will get into the branding problem of Cracker Barrel. There's new information, and you'll hear from the new CEO who's taken the barrel and the old man off the logo, but I didn't know they've also remodeled the Cracker Barrels, and guess what? Folks ain't happy. We'll get into that. Jurupa High School is in the news again and again for transgender athletes, where A.B. Hernandez, the biological male who identifies as a young woman and won state championships on the Jurupa High School track team, is now on the volleyball team. Volleyball season has begun, and other schools in that district refuse to play Jurupa High School. We'll unpack that, talk a little sports. We've got some weird sports story, a weird story out of the U.S. Open in tennis, which is now underway, where a photographer wandered onto the court at match point. We'll get into that. And Tommy Fleetwood, after 15 years on the PGA Tour, won the FedEx Championship, and there's a weird story out of that. Or at least it's weird to me. I'll put it on you guys. Did you know that Tommy Fleetwood is 34 years old? That's not the story, Chris. That's not the story. Do you know how old his wife is? She is 57. He is 34. She is 50. She's damn near my age. And okay, she's a beautiful woman. Don't get me wrong. She's a beautiful woman. What happens, Tommy, when you turn 45 and she's 68? I mean, I know I'm a shallow individual, but good googly moogly, man. 45 and 68? Okay, all right. And we'll get into the president's executive order banning cashless bail and some other news involving the president. You'll hear from him, as a matter of fact, on Ukraine. That was asked in his impromptu news conferences that he has in the Oval Office or in the East Room or wherever the Sandhilly is. But we begin with the ongoing incredible saga of Kathy Miller and Tastries Bakery. The fight continues. It goes on. And she is now taking her case to the United States Supreme Court. The briefings will go on, will be filed tomorrow, and she will be joining us tomorrow as well. Kathy Miller, for those that are new to our community or have just forgotten, that is even humanly. About a decade ago, she refused to serve a lesbian couple that were getting married and was willing to serve them cookies, cakes, but was not willing to participate in their marriage. They filed suit and it's been in court. It went this way, it went that way. She lost, she then won, she's now lost again. And now her attorneys, who will join us as well, are submitting the brief to the United States Supreme Court. And they expect this to be gargantuan news. And we'll find out tomorrow when we talk with Kathy whether or not what they think the court will do with this. Will they send it back down to lower courts? Will they hear the case? I think they'll hear the case, although there are some that I've talked to, some attorneys that I've talked to, who believe that the court has already settled this issue in Colorado in a similar case that involved a computer expert and a bakery in the state of Colorado. So I hope you'll join us tomorrow. She'll be with us at 4:00. And I love this woman. I really, really do, because as you all know, I've been pretty consistent about this. I adore Kathy, and I think we've formed a pretty good relationship over the last decade. But as you all know, I disagree with her. I absolutely disagree with her. I think in business, you have to check at the door every personal thought that you have. I don't think you can bring your religion into your business practice. And despite that, we've been able to maintain a close friendship. I put air quotes about that because we don't go to dinner or anything, but she loves coming on the program, and she certainly hit me to what's going on in terms of the briefing tomorrow with the Supreme Court. And while we disagree, I don't agree. I have empathy for this woman. I admire this woman, the fight she and her husband have put on for these many years, the manner in which the bakery and their employees were treated when this story initially broke. They were called homophobic. Many of her employees quit because of the harassment they were receiving. People were pounding the pavement outside of her bakery. They didn't even know if they could keep the doors open because of the protests and fear that many of her patrons refused to come there because of all the hoopla that these people were creating. But I think we're getting to the beginning of the end of this case for Kathy and her family, and that is a good thing. And I think inevitably, I think she will win, even if I disagree with her. I think the court has established that creating a cake, particularly a specialized cake for a wedding, is a form of art. It is a form of free speech. And she should not be mandated, she should not be obligated to be involved in this. Now, I totally disagree with that, but that's where the court has landed in the past. And as you most of you know, the court is all about precedent. But again, Kathy Miller will be with us tomorrow here at 4:00, and we'll get into this with her attorneys and sit back and watch, and hopefully this thing ends for her. This has been a long and horrible road for their family, and the reason I admire her so is they have never, ever, ever wavered in their belief that they're right and that they have a right to select their customers when it comes to specialized cakes and specialized events. And as many of you know, she suggested another bakery and try to help these people. I don't think that does it. I really don't. But again, I wish her the best. And secretly, I hope she wins, even though fundamentally I disagree with it. But this is a big story that this thing potentially could go to the United States Supreme Court. And we wish Kathy all the luck in the world. And again, we'll be with us tomorrow at 4 o'clock when she joins us live in studio, along with her attorney. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. All right, let's go ahead and take our first break of the day. When we come back, we'll get into Donald Trump's executive order banning cashless bail. You know, I heard JR talking about Fernando Hart. Think about cashless bail. If we had cashless bail here in California, Fernando, bipolar, schizophrenic, danger to the community, would be roaming the streets of Bakersfield right now. I didn't know until I listened to the JR show that he is still in jail. But with cashless bail, like in the state of New York, he'd be wandering the streets right now. Just to give you a sense of what an idiotic idea cashless bail is. And remember, initially, I was in favor of cashless bail. I was the one that said that it's not fair that poor people have to rot in jail waiting for their trial while rich folks are out the next night. But then you get into this and you discover that homicide victims have been let go in the state of New York. Dope dealers have been let go in the state of New York. It's been an absolute disaster. And I agree with the president on getting rid of cashless bail. We'll get into that, get into some of his other thoughts on air cover for the Ukrainians. That was brought up as well. We'll get into the branding of Cracker Barrel. Can't believe this is still a story. And can't believe that they're tripling down on their remodeling, their rebranding. You'll hear from the CEO, Kathy Abernathy at 4 o'clock. Shannon Grove, you'll hear from our state senator, is leading a group demanding, who drew the maps? Now that you've broken the Constitution, Gavin, and gone against the people and gone back to allowing legislators to pick their voters as opposed to voters picking their politicians, who drew the map? And why can't any of the Democrats answer that very simple question? You'll hear from Shannon Grove later in the program. Sports as well. I told you about the U.S. Open. Tommy Fleetwood almost got swept by the Padres, but they got they're tied, but we own the tiebreaker place. And we'll go through the Dodgers schedule in the final 30 games. Pretty easy schedule, but remember, we split 4 games with the Colorado Rockies. I'm pretty sure the BC Renegades could beat the Colorado Rockies. We're just getting started on a Monday, right here on the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com. It is burning up in here, but I don't want to turn on the fan.
That's why he had the door open. No, it's pretty. It's not like die. But it is warmer in here than it is in the other rooms.
What's the laptop?
I think that's just Jay. No, probably.
It's gotta be JR. Scott wasn't here this morning.
No, he's not. But maybe he left it out. Does he open it up? See what the
Sweet laptop.
It might be JR though.
Yeah, it is.
It's JR.
Andrew Flores.
Okay. Can't help it. All you want for it's kind of use a tablet though.
Every step of the process. I shop cabinets, countertops, fixtures, so you get the perfect combination of style and function. We work with top quality American-made cabinet brands like Waypoint, Diamond, Medallion to ensure long-lasting beauty and craftsmanship. If you're ready to turn your vision into reality, let's design something amazing together. Call Stock Up Kitchen and Bath at 661-834-3333. Or visit StockedUpKitchenandBath.com today. Stocked Up Kitchen and Bath, beautiful cabinetry, smart design.
Please meet Paul Sheldon's client, Marilyn Bull.
Hi, my name is Marilyn Bull. I heard of Paul Sheldon through my husband, so when I retired, I decided I'm going to go to him too, and I'm very pleased. The experience with Paul Sheldon has been great. Every everything to where you could understand it. So I'm glad I had him to go to, because otherwise I recommend call Sheldon to anybody, because it is so much easier to go there and someone actually show you and explain what your options are. And when you leave there, if you still didn't quite understand, you can always call and even make an appointment with you and rediscuss those things. I also have recommended thank you, Paul Sheldon, for all your help, and I wouldn't know what to do without you.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program may only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it could end your debt nightmare and save you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for. So don't wait. For this free information, call 800-422-8552. 800-422-8552. That's 800-422-8552. Not available in all states, must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
You're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox. News Talk 96.1 at AM 1180 KERN.
This is not a one-night stand.
Little Smokey Robinson on Monday. Has Smokey gotten clear of all those sexual assault charges? Obviously, that thing hasn't been adjudicated yet, but imagine being in your 80s being accused of sexual assault, having a wonderful career like Smokey Robinson has had, a wonderful life, beloved figure. I went and saw him. I told you the story. One of my ex-girlfriends, took me down there. I went kicking and screaming. I was like, Smokey, please. It was in the round. It was in Anaheim. And I had forgotten that he had written a lot of the Temptation songs. And so he went into that, and it was one of the best concerts I've ever been to. Again, if you're just joining us, our top story of the day tomorrow, Kathy Miller and her attorney will join us. The Beckett firm is now representing Kathy Miller and Tasteries Bakery, and they are submitting a brief to the United States Supreme Court tomorrow, and she'll be our guest along with her attorneys at 4:00. I strongly suggest you tune in. This is a story we have exclusively. We're the first and only ones to report this, and which goes to show you, despite our differences, how much I think Kathy respects the broadcast and the friendship, I think it's safe to call it, that we have formed over the years. Meantime, in the White House today, the president signed an executive order banning cashless bail. He was also meeting with the South Korean president and also was asked about Ukraine, obviously. And what was most important that I wanted to hear, because remember, I damn near fell out of my chair when we were starting to talk about security guarantees and boots on the ground and NATO troops. And we played you that audio, the president saying that we'll be helping, we'll be there, whoop, 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 whoop. And I got a little nervous. And then he kind of walked that back the next day, but then started talking about air cover. That was asked today in the White House.
We haven't even discussed the specifics of it, and we'll see. Number one, Europe is going to give them significant security guarantees, and they should, because they're right there. But we'll be involved from the standpoint of backup to help them. And I think if we get a deal, and I think we will, but if we get a deal, you're not going to, I don't believe you're going to have much of a problem. But we'll back it up, because I want to stop seeing people being killed. You know, when Biden was here, he gave $350 billion. You know this from covering business. $350 billion to Ukraine. I said that Zelensky's the greatest salesman I think I've ever met, better than P.T. Barnum, because he'd come to the country and walk out with $50 billion every time. He actually came here once, he walked out with $100 billion. We're up to $350 billion. I got $1 trillion worth of rare earth that we have, because I felt badly for our taxpayer. But I did something else at the NATO meeting. They are wealthy countries, but they weren't paying. And we don't pay any money to Ukraine anymore. Do you know that?
I hate to correct the president's grammar, but you don't feel badly. You feel bad. Linking verbs take adjectives, not adverbs. I don't have time to explain it. Go Google it. If there's anything I know grammar. Nevertheless, it's been my experience in my lifetime historically that this kind of participation, well, we're just going to send some advisors. This is how you stumble into getting into these conflicts where nobody sees the future. And we say, well, we're going to make this guarantee. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And then something happens and it escalates. And the next thing you know, it's 1965 and there are hundreds of thousands of troops in Vietnam. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm afraid, as I said, when this thing was first announced, what happens the first time a NATO soldier, let's say from the United Kingdom, let's say from France, let's say from Finland, any member of the NATO countries gets murdered, gets killed, dies. What happens? Is that not now almost a global conflict between NATO and Russia? And what happens if we get involved in this with air security and a drone gets in the engine of one of our fighters and it goes down, we lose an American boy? The president so far has tippy-toed through this pretty artfully by getting NATO to up its ante from 2% to 5%. Uncle Fluffy could have never done that. Weekend at Bernie's could have never done that. All the Biden-Harris administration would say, don't. And I don't agree with a lot of what the president says, a lot of his rhetoric, greatest economy in the history of the world, greatest economy. But he's right. This Ukrainian war would have never happened if anybody, even if Obama, if you think I'm just being partisan, even if Obama had been president, this thing doesn't start, in my opinion. Although Obama did give away the Crimea, let's be factual. But it was the do-nothing policy of the Biden-Harris administration that ignored the 150,000 troops that stood on the border. You know, our memory is so quick or so bad that we forget. It wasn't like there were 150,000 troops on the Ukrainian border on Tuesday and they invaded on Wednesday. It wasn't like that. They were along that border, and Putin, as he is wont to do, lied through. Oh, we're not going anywhere. This is an exercise. That's what it is. It's an exercise. We're just along the border, just protecting our border. And all Harris Biden said was don't. And the president has got NATO to step up. The Western European nations have kind of realized we've seen this before, haven't we? You know, somewhere in the 20th century, I remember this happening before. Kind of a leader who promised that he would never go into Poland, a leader who said he'd never go into Czechoslovakia, a Western European leader in the United Kingdom saying, we can do business with Mr. Hitler. And bing, bang, bong, they're goose-stepping down the Champs-Elysees. Just saying. And if you think Vladimir Putin is going to stop at Ukraine, you really don't know history. You really don't. And you're underestimating what a gangster, what a absolute detestable war criminal this man is. Do you know how scary the KGB is? Do you know how scary KGB agents are? This guy was the head of the KGB. He was the head minister. He was the head bad guy. And people think we can negotiate with him. And I think the president is finally getting it that we can't deal with this guy. But like I said, he's done a wonderful job in terms of not getting us involved. Instead of us giving the money to Ukraine, we're selling military weapons to NATO and letting them be involved, as well they should. Here's more from President Trump.
We gave $350 billion to Ukraine. You know, if we didn't give that kind of money. And I was the one that gave the javelins, if you remember. I gave the javelins, they were very effective. They say Obama gave sheep and Trump gave javelins. They were very effective with those tanks right at the beginning. But you would have never had a war if I were president. You would have never had a war. Just to finish, we spend no money in Ukraine anymore. We were getting fleeced by a president that didn't know what he was doing. To be honest, I don't blame Ukraine. I mean, if they come and ask for $100 billion, then they get it. But we were in for $350 billion. Now we make money. I don't want to make money on Ukraine. I want the war to end because I want to save all those lives. I want to just say, but just so you understand, we're no longer losing money on that thing. We were losing money hand over fist. And now we don't lose any money. Now we sell weapons to NATO. Because NATO agreed, because of me, to go to 5%. They had 2% and didn't pay. Now they have 5% and they're all paid up. So they have trillions of dollars and they give us that money. But I really want the war to end. And we're going to get it ended.
Also, he has banned flag burning in District of Columbia. We'll talk more about that later in the program. Quick time out. We're going to step aside and come right back. We'll get into restaurant business. Cracker Barrel. Their stock is down 12%. They lost $94 million in a day, and yet they're tripling down on their new logo and format. I would stick around if I you.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. More than 180 current and former FEMA employees have published a letter warning of potential disaster due to cuts in the agency. The letter coincides with the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, highlighting concerns about management and capacity of FEMA. It warns that current practices echo conditions the post-Katrina Emergency Management Reform Act aimed to prevent. President Trump signed an executive order Monday threatening to withhold federal funding from local and state governments that allow cashless bail, arguing it's a threat to public safety. Critics believe it is a time-honored way to ensure defendants released from jail show up for court proceedings and warn that cashless bail could lead to more crime. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 349 points. This is SRN News.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Those are probably all my water bottles.
Yeah. Whose laptop is it? Is that your laptop?
Mine, yeah, you can use it if you need to. There's a code on it. It's put it in. And then Saturday, over the weekend, he sent me an email. He's like, "Hey, I got Chris Kelly the president." I was like, "Fuck yes, you do."
Yeah.
I was like, perfect.
It was weird too because I went to I had dinner at lunch at Mezcal yesterday, watching the game, and I was talking about just an old buddy of mine who just happened to sit there, and we were talking about. He's like, "What'd you do this summer? Hey, did you go to Vegas like you always do for your birthday?" I go, "No, I didn't go. I'm not, Vegas is getting old, and I'm waiting for Hard Rock." And he goes, "That's so funny you say that because I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to stay down there." And I said, "Well, they're opening by the end of the year, but the hotel won't be open until like 26." He said, "Yeah, this is going to save me so much money and so much hassle." I said, "Me too, my brother."
Dude, it's before you get to the outlets.
I know.
So it's like on that Mettler exit, the 166.
It's right past. Do you know where Cassie's Steakhouse is?
Yeah.
It's just a little bit past that, but it's off the beaten path a little bit.
It's like a half a mile out off that exit.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
gotta
you can
take
see
the
the
road.
construction.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you pay attention.
But you gotta take the road back there.
Yeah.
This
Because
is cool.
Big
though.
Dog was telling me from Taft.
Oh, it's a straight shot in.
Straight shot in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
We gotta make him our best friend.
That's what I was like, we're friends now, right? He's like, yeah, best friends. I said, but we'll be open by the end of the year. He said, I promise you that you and I will be clinking champagne glasses for New Year's Eve.
Really?
So, brother, we'll be there.
I want to be in
And
on
then I
that.
thought, because he was talking about, they did dealer school last year. I go, let me throw this idea about you. Who doesn't want to play blackjack with JR? Who doesn't want to play poker with Ralph? Who doesn't want a tournament? I said, we'll take a party bus down there. We'll take all our listeners. We'll do a Ralph
We used
Bailey
to do
tournament.
that. We used to do that at Eagle Mountain. take a busload of
He was
listeners.
all that. Yeah. I mean, he's of course he's
Yeah.
gonna shoot me up there in the interview. but
And we would just do it. I would just play with them.
That's what I said.
and
I
they
said,
loved
who
it.
doesn't want to play in a poker tournament with Ralph?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to play blackjack with me? Come on.
We
man.
could do all kind of things. We need to sit down with Tina. That's what we need to do. Yeah.
I was like, I'm trying to move. So
Yeah.
I put the logo up on the TV.
Yeah.
I put it on the purple jacket.
Is it on here?
No, I had it up earlier. I'm gonna woo him.
Good. Eight 842-537-6842-KER. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, the U.S. Open in tennis is underway in New York City. And Venus Williams, yes, that Venus Williams. How many Venus Williams are there? 45 years old. And she is, and the big news is she won a couple of matches about a couple of weeks ago, and people were and she gonna get beat tonight. I mean, let's be honest. Madison Keys got dumped today in the first round. That was a shock. And this Medvedev thing, where the guy, did you see the end of the match? So Daniil Medvedev is losing, and it's match point. And the kid who beat him eventually misses his first serve. And in between his first and second serve, a photographer wanders on the court. So the head linesman stops play, and they make a big deal and they get him off. They banned him from the U.S. Open. But the controversy began when the chair allowed the kid to re-serve. And Medvedev is like, what are you talking about? Second serve. He's like, no, I'm letting him serve again. And Medvedev got the crowd going and just went nuts. And he staved off match point. He eventually lost in the next set. But then at the end of the match, and you'll all see this video somewhere, he's just sitting there and he just takes a racket. Well, the first he throws, because they come with like 5 or 6 rackets. And so he throws a couple in the stands, which is unheard of. And then he takes the final racket that he owns and just demolishes it on a chair. And then the weirdest part, okay, so he demolished the racket is just hanging on a nerve. It's just got like a cat string left. And he's sitting there with this broken racket in his hand. And he's just sitting there, just steaming. I got knocked out in the first round, and some damn photographer screwed me up, and I haven't been the same since. And he's just sitting there, and he just goes, I'm not finished. And it starts banging away again with this broken racket. And it's just, I thought it was funny. I don't know. Let's check the board before we get started. You got anything? 842-537-6842-KERN. Or you can chime in the chat room. I haven't looked yet to see what you guys are talking about. But what do you got? Yeah, what do you got? Yes. That's a very simple question. I don't know how long you've lived in the state of California, but around 2010, we got tired of gerrymandering. And I forget the proposition number, but we voted, 61% of us, as a matter of fact, voted for what is called, please stand by, I don't want to screw this up for you, Independent Redistricting Commission, where now an independent panel would make up the lines. The reason this is, for the very thing I said at the top of the show, it is antithetical to our democracy to have elected officials select their voters, when somewhere I read the voters select their politician. So this is in our Constitution. No such thing exists in the state of Texas. Plain and simple. They can do whatever the hell they want. And Greg Abbott is. And if you're paying attention, closely to our state legislature. We'll get into this issue a little bit later. Well, we can get into it right now. They violated the Constitution, and Republicans here in California are saying they're not agreeing with Greg Abbott, a Republican governor of Texas. If you listen to Shannon Grove, if you listen to these legislators here in the state of California, they're saying what Texas is doing is wrong. But two wrongs don't make a right. The only reason Gavin Newsom is doing this is not because Texas is doing it. Don't believe that for a second. The reason Gavin Newsom is doing this is because Ralph Bailey is talking about Gavin Newsom. Most talk show hosts throughout the state of California are talking about Gavin Newsom, and Gavin Newsom wants to be the president of the United States in 2028. Period. End of sentence. And later on in the program, I'm just going to highlight some of the lowlights of Gavin Newsom's career. Meantime, the question continues to be asked by legislators. This isn't Shannon Grove. This is ahead of one of the Republican groups that are part of the whole process, asking a very simple question.
Who drew the maps? It's a very simple question. Names, preferably. Okay, I'm in the assembly and I did not draw these maps. So I'm asking, who drew these maps?
The legislature drew the maps.
Who specifically in the
The
legislature?
legislature drew the maps.
This is transparency that we don't get to know who drew the
The
maps.
legislature drew the maps.
So you wrote the maps or helped write them.
I didn't personally write them.
So then there you go. She's in leadership and she just said she didn't write the maps.
She had some, she was.
Is that part of the audio? Dump it. Let's hear from our state senator. Here was Shannon Grove asking essentially the very same question.
Was put in print on Monday. We had a hearing on Tuesday. On Tuesday, when the hearing took place, both election chairs in the Assembly and the Senate could not answer one question: who drew the lines? The Assembly election chair said it was a collaboration. The Assembly election chair said it was a leadership. Leadership, what leadership? Give us a name. The individual who was providing technical assistance in that committee would not answer any questions about who they were, who they represented, who was paying them. It's a public process, and you're asking from the dais, who do you represent? I'd rather not answer that question. Who's paying you? I'd rather not answer that question. I mean, this is a public process where we got no answers, and you're talking about transparency. They were asked who drew the lines, and in the Assembly, the response was it was a group of leadership. It was the state legislature, and the response was we're in the state legislature, and we didn't participate in that process. And they said, well, you're not in leadership, so then it fell on leadership. I watched the interview on our own elections chair here in the Senate. Who drew the lines? Well, the Rules Committee. I'm the vice chair of Rules. We did not participate that I know of drawing any lines. My colleague from Santa Cruz sits on Rules. He did not participate.
This has been one of the biggest injustices, in my lifetime in the state of California. I've never seen anything like it. And we had Mark DiCamillo from the Berkeley Government Institute. What do I want to get it right? Please stand by. We had Mark DiCamillo on the UC Berkeley Institute of Governmental Studies on Friday, who told us that right now, according to his poll, and remember, he's the man we used to have on back in the years when he had led the Gallup poll, that they don't have a majority, but they're leading. They're leading. But this is going to be a vicious, vicious fight. Kevin McCarthy has a new job now. He is, and again, as I talked about this on Friday, if there's anything Kevin McCarthy can do and do extremely well, it is raise money. And he is with a group called Right Path that is going to raise a ton of money. There are other investors. I told you about the gentleman that is going to throw in some $10 million to help fund the fight on this. I think we can win. I truly do. Those of us who believe that the commission wasn't perfect, but it was certainly better than what we have, and it's certainly better than letting Gavin Newsom try to draw attention to himself so he can be the nominee which I pray is the case. I get on my hands and knees and pray that Gavin Newsom becomes the face of the Democratic Party, because they still don't get it. They really don't. They truly believe that the way to get back into power, the way that they can get their approval rating back into the 40s, they're at an all-time historic low, an approval rating in the low 30s. And they honestly are going to quadruple down on, let's just beat Trump. They had some DNC meeting over the weekend with Tim Walz and all these presidential Illinois governor Pritzker, the fat guy that could never get elected president, because this country does not elect fat men president. Not since William Taft. And we're talking about the turn of the century. Oh, not that turn of the century, 1900. The man that created the seventh inning stretch. Told you that story Friday. How did he start it? He was at a ball game. I think he was at a Yankee game. And his big fat butt stood up. Everybody else stood up. It was the middle of the seventh inning. That's how the seventh inning stretch got started. And he's the only president to get on the Supreme Court after serving president. In fact, he was the Chief Justice. And our very own Earl Warren said, and I'm paraphrasing, C+ president, the best Chief Justices we've ever. We can stave this off, and that's what you all have to remember. We hold the keys. We can kill a ton of money. There's Charles Munson I told you about is throwing in $10 million. And I believe he was governor at the time, but Arnold Schwarzenegger has declared that he's going to be full-throatedly behind this effort. This is wrong. This is wrong. As I answered the text messenger, the big difference, the gargantuan difference between Texas and California is we voted to get rid of this, to get rid of the idea that these guys get to make up their own lines, their own districts. And we're going to set up a commission, an independent panel to sit down and figure it out. And now we're going to go against that. Texas has nothing like that. That is the difference. And it's a gargantuan one. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we come back. Kathy Abernathy will join us at the top of the hour. I was wondering, I forgot I turned the page. I was like, Menendez's? Why do I have Menendez's in today's rundown? Because that's not today's rundown. I forgot I turned the page. That's today's rundown. Well, I mean, I could get into it. There has been breaking news since Friday. Lyle got denied. He wasn't denied at 6 o'clock when we left. He had another, just like his brother, 10-hour parole hearing, and he was denied. Huh. Go figure. You can't shoot your mama in the face and walk out of prison. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? You can't take a shotgun and shoot your parents in the knees first, then shoot them in the back, and then take the muzzle of a shotgun, put it at the base of your dad's skull, and blow his head off. And then when you see your mother crawling in excruciating pain, dying slowly, go out to your Beverly Hills driveway, reload, and come in and shoot your mama in the face. Go figure, you can't do that and walk out of jail. Who knew? Who knew? There really is a God in the sky, a Lord in the heavens. We got to revisit this thing in 3 years. And again, your boy wants to be president. So he ain't going to be soft on crime and let him go, because he can let him go 30 seconds from now if he wanted. But he sees himself, so help me God. That ain't never going to happen, Gavin. That ain't never going to happen. Quick timeout. We're coming right back on this Monday. It's TRBS. Right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com. So what? Yeah.
Peace process for Russia and Ukraine is over. We all realize that, right? So now what? Also, we're going to have on Tim the lawyer. Talk about a fan favorite. If you haven't heard Tim on the Armstrong and and the news of the day. So we've got all that coming up for you on the next Armstrong and Getty Show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Hope you're with us on Thursday when Daniel Petrie, our money man from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors, joins us as he does every Thursday. It'll be interesting to see what Daniel thinks what Jerome Powell's next move will be in terms of Fed rates. Everyone is predicting by the end of the year that he will lower them with inflation starting to ease up just a skosh. And of course, you know what Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors are all about. They're all about retirement. If you're like me and starting to get long in the tooth, you're on the back nine of life and retirement is staring you dead in the mug, I suggest you call the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors, 395-9400, 395-9400, or just tune in on Thursday at 4:30 when Daniel Petrie joins us from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
Please be Paul Sheldon's client.
Hello, Kern County. This is Ryan. My wife and I recently changed our healthcare coverage for Medicare.
They still can't hear you or the audio. They can't hear you or the audio. Oh, because it's not even in the. We didn't put it in the damn thing. That's my bad.
They listen to our questions every time we walk through the door.
And followed up very promptly with the answers we needed. With Paul's help, we made the best decisions for us. The process was painless, and we now have comprehensive medical coverage at a very affordable price. So if you are considering retirement and a change to Medicare coverage, Paul Sheldon Insurance Benefits and Planning is hands down the best place you can go.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program may only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it could end your debt nightmare and save you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for. So don't wait. For this free information, call 800-422-8552, 800-422-8552. That's 800-422-8552. Not available in all states, must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
The Charlie Kirk Show, weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
One of the things I neglected to reference in terms of the president's day today, got a lot done, as he does just about every day. It's amazing that Democrats can't examine Weekend at Fluffy's, no matter what you think of Trump and what he's doing now and how hard he works and how often and how transparent his administration is. He has a news conference in some form or fashion daily, whether it's when he's meeting with a world. In fact, he had two news conferences essentially today. He had one, and this is the one I neglected to talk about, which was significant. Uncle Fluffy, and I don't know whether this was because he's Uncle Fluffy and probably had prostate cancer at the time, but absolutely refused to acknowledge the death of the 13 soldiers who died in Afghanistan during the departure. Never called any of the families, never contacted them, didn't welcome the bodies home at the air base in Maryland. How do I know that? Because the President of the United States today had the 13 families and their loved ones in the Oval Office. And they were asked, were they contacted by Biden-Harris? And they all shook their heads no. As I have said time and time and time again, and how I was raised, it's never the mistake you make in life, because if that were true, we would all be screwed. It's how you handle the errors that you make, whether you're dealing with your wife, your boss, your friends, business, it does not matter. We all screw up. We're all flawed. But it's the people that do this, point fingers away from themselves and try to walk away from any type of responsibility. If there's anything this screw up has learned in the countless screw ups that I've had to overcome in my life, the first lesson I learned is own it. Absolutely own it. This was Ralph Bailey's fault, period, end of sentence. Period. And the Democrats and that administration walked away and tried to claim that the Afghanistan departure was kosher. And it was anything but. Most of us who are old thought that the sight in Saigon of the helicopter leaving that structure, that tall building in Saigon, with people trying to hold on just to get out of there, we thought we would never see anything like that again in our lives. Never. And yet we saw worse. We saw people running down a tarmac trying to get on board an airplane, moving down the tarmac. And yet Biden addressed the country and said, I even talked about the air base, the military equipment that was left. And now, on top of that, the Biden administration never reached out to these people, these families that lost their loved ones. And the president highlighted that today by bringing them into the Oval Office. So that was his first news conference, because he brings in the press along with the families into the literally into the Oval Office and answers questions. And of course, the media is going to get off the topic. The first 3 questions have to deal with Afghanistan and these families. You can't just go into Epstein with these families standing behind the president. So the first 3 or 4 questions were about Afghanistan. And then the media feels like they can go off and start asking anything they want. And then he sat down with the South Korean president, and that was yet another essential news conference where, again, the first 2, 3 questions are about South Korea, and boop, 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 and then they go off and it's about Ukraine and this and that and that and this. And again, it's just about transparency. It really is. Whether you like the man or not, you know, Biden and the Biden administration hid him from the press. Hell, they hid him from the damn cabinet. Their cabinet members will tell you that they barely met with the man. Let's remember that the Secretary of Defense had a medical procedure and was AWOL for 4 days. Uncle Fluffy didn't even know it. Bernie didn't even know it. How is that possible? Think about that. John Kennedy doesn't know where Bob McNamara is. Think about that. Clinton doesn't know where Madeleine Albright is. God, I hope I got that right. No, she wasn't Secretary of Defense. Who was Clinton's Secretary of Defense? I bet I beat you. Hey, Siri, who was Bill Clinton's Secretary of Defense?
William Cohen.
William Cohen from Connecticut. I knew that. I knew I had that. When that came out of my big bazoo, I was like, Madeleine Albright.
I think you've done that before in the past.
Oh, shut up. Yes, I have. What are you talking about? I do it daily. I can't even go back and watch the show anymore. I really can't.
I know, I'm caught myself doing that on EBS too. And it's like, oh, you big, like today I kept calling, oh God, who was I calling? I was calling somebody Cam or Cameron, and their name's like, it's not even close to that.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Carson. I was talking about Carson Wentz. I kept calling him Cameron Wentz for some reason.
Well, I just Charles Munger, who was given the $10 million. And remember, I said, I can't find him. I was trying to Wikipedia him. Yeah, because his name, I had it as Munzer, and it's Munger. And it wasn't that I had it wrong. It was that I could not read my own handwriting. I had Munger, but it looked like Munzer.
See, and I would say we got to fix that, but at this point, you got to just live with the chicken scratch you got.
And I try to slow down. I really do. It's because I write so fast. I write in print. I don't do cursive.
Same.
But my pen never leaves the pad. So the letters kind of intermingle, and I can't even decipher it. I have to let me just give you an example. There's today's rundown, just to give you
Working
some
with
sense.
you for so long, I've kind of figured it out over the
What
years.
my E's or my A's and my S's or G's. And
it's like hieroglyphics.
It is.
Just reading the walls of the
there it is,
Sphinx and all that. Gotta
There's
figure it
a
out.
chicken scratch. I play it off and say, I'm the son of a doctor. That's what it is. I don't know. Kathy Abernathy's next.
This is AM 1180 KERN. Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM. Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A conservative editorial board is concerned about President Trump's acts of revenge. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
Last week, the FBI raided the home of former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton just days after the president complained about Bolton. The Wall Street Journal editorial board said it's hard to see the raid as anything other than vindictive. The conservative board members wrote that Donald Trump seems to think he can use the power of his office to run vendettas. Writing on social media, the president suggested former Governor Chris Christie could be the next target. Greg Clugston, Washington.
With U.S. efforts to secure a ceasefire in Ukraine still uncertain, President Volodymyr Zelensky welcomed top European officials to Kyiv for talks on security guarantees.
U.S. President Donald Trump's special envoy for Ukraine and Russia was in Kyiv on Monday, part of a string of high-profile visits as Washington insists it's still pushing for a ceasefire deal. Keith Kellogg said officials are working hard to end the three-year war as a lack of progress has been fueling doubts.
We're hoping to get to a position where in the near term we have, what a lack of a better term, security guarantees.
Trump has said he hopes to broker direct talks between Presidents Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky, though Russia has signaled such a summit is unlikely soon. I'm Leon Kim.
Southwest Airlines will soon require plus-size travelers to pay for an extra seat in advance if they can't fit within the armrests of one seat. This change is part of several updates the airline's making. The new rule starts on January 27th, the same day.
You know who else I talked to? Jackie out at
Kern River? Yeah.
Do you know who the relation there?
No.
Norma Diaz, operator of La Rosa.
I knew she had the thing out there, but well, what's the connection? Really? Really?
I was over there. I had saw it. She had taken her in something, and I was like, "Oh, that's okay."
And that's
then
her
I
wife.
saw Jackie, and I was like, "Oh, she runs Kern River." And then we went by there on Saturday because they were doing the 45th anniversary, and she was there, and she introduced me. She's like, "Oh, you know my wife, Jackie."
The golf course?
No, at La Rosa at the factory. She goes, "You know my wife, Jackie?" And I was like, "Hey, Jackie." I was like, "Hey, you run Kern River, right?" And she's like, "Yeah." I said, "You know Ralph?" And I went, "Oh yeah, Ralph used to come out all the time during COVID."
Not during COVID.
That's what she said. You've been coming out there forever.
Forever. That's where I met Paul. Like 30 years ago when Jim owned it. I love that course. That was the only course I played
I told her, I said,
back in the day.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Did you tell her why I don't play out there anymore?
Well, she knows. She goes, I know you guys get on BCC.
Yeah. I mean, what are you gonna do? But I love that
I
track.
said every chance I get to, I go play.
Yeah, I'll go out there.
I love that play.
You want to try to play this weekend? If I can sum it up, I got that free deal at Sundale after 10.
We still have
Yeah, let's go.
Right?
Yeah, because Rain and I never used it.
Yeah.
That Saturday, I thought it was okay. All right, let's go. Because I think I'll be ready by the weekend. I know. It just sucks.
Is your thing on right now?
Yes. We didn't say anything.
No, I was going to say something to you.
Oh, well, I can turn it off. Shut that out the door. All your personal stuff.
Well, it says the way the rules are, that's the way it was with
Yeah.
business. They can't refuse service except
Yeah.
no shirts, no shoes. no
Hour
service.
2 of the broadcast on this Monday, 25th day of August. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com. We've still got lots to do. We'll get into the Cracker Barrel self-inflicted wound as they continue to double and triple down. And people are not happy. We talked about this on Friday when I thought it was just a simple logo change, but they've changed the look of their restaurants. In some states, they've gotten rid of what you can see here on California, the chairs out in front, an old kind of home style look to a more modern look. They've changed the indoor remodeling, and people are not happy. They lost 12% in their stock on one day, $94 million. And since this new CEO has taken over, who you will hear from later on in the broadcast, the stock has dipped some 45%. We'll dig into that. And we'll get into this Jurupa High School situation back in the news. They were in the news about a year ago because A.B. Hernandez, a biological male who identifies as a female, became a track star on the girls' team. Well, now he or she is playing on the volleyball team, and teams won't play them. They're forfeiting. And this child, who I feel bad for, I truly do, the focus of all these things, is causing this team to not play. These teams won't play it, refuse to play them, they're forfeiting, won't play it. So we'll go into that. And I'll give you a look at the Dodgers schedule as we take back first place. Yes, they're tied, but we own the tiebreaker between the Padres. So we'll always be a game up if it's tied, or if it ends in a tie, we will win the division, I think, for the 12th time in 14 years or something crazy like that. We'll get into that and the U.S. Open and some other news. But it is a Monday. Professor, oh, you got to move this back. Do you want me to do it? You come in and do it? All right. You'll see the professor here in just a second. Once Mr. Burdick gets in here and readjust our camera and we begin our discussion with the lovely and talented Kathy Abernathy.
Look at this too.
What, are we in the same color?
I think
That's
so.
more
Mine's
of
a little hot, but
Yeah, that's a little peachy.
a little too much.
I'm more of a rust color.
Yeah, probably.
And people were asking me in the chat
Neon,
room,
I think.
they were asking me if I was wearing a KTLA shirt.
I see what.
Yes, I was once a reporter at KTLA in Los Angeles, and then I moved to Bakersfield.
Why stay at KTLA? with
Yes,
us?
why stay in the number 2 market? Come to 156, Ralph. No, it's from Mike Turnipseed, current tax association. How are you, Professor?
Well, I'm good. I was making a joke about Fox News mispronouncing the name of the high school because, of course, I guess you had to go to Indio High to know that it's Harupa.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
Harupa.
I was in error as well.
Yeah.
Harupa.
I was going to see, this is why they should use me so that they get a California influence.
Yes.
Even up here in Bakersfield,
Even Bago.
nobody
I
knows.
never heard of it.
Anyway.
And they've been in the news. Have you heard the story about this?
I first heard it on Fox and I was just hearing you.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So-
It's crazy. These teams won't play them. And these girls are being denied the opportunity. And that's really what it's all about. That not only has this A.B. Hernandez taken up a spot for a girl who's sitting at home, not on the team, but now other teams won't play them. And this is going to catch fire. And I think a lot of teams in that district or that has to play them are going to do this.
Well, this whole thing is just keep playing and playing with whether it's kids or in the college with different frameworks to make it some modern change to everything. And it never works. It never works.
It doesn't.
There's no point in it working. How many times do we reinvent the wheel? But they're trying to because they can't dream up anything else, I guess, to invent.
And if there wasn't a poster child for the dangers of having biological males play in female sports, but there is. And I can go back in my notes. It doesn't really matter what the child's name is, but she was a volleyball player. And the male volleyball player spiked the ball, hit her in the face. She still is suffering from brain damage. If it happens once, that's once too often. That should absolutely make the case why we are against this. It's not against transgender people. We can create a whole transgender, it's what the Kennedys did. They had a child that was back in those days, retarded. It was one of the older children. She was affable at times. She could speak. She wasn't brainless, but John was running for president, or at the time, I think Congress, and Joe, without the family's knowledge, did something that we now know of. It was kind of an experiment back then, but had a lobotomy done on the child and, ruined her whole life. She died an old woman.
Yeah,
in
but in a home of some type,
But the point is, the Kennedy girls took that to heart and created the Special Olympics. They created a sport where their sister, who was a wonderful tennis player, this is what created this in the Kennedy family.
I didn't know that.
Yes, she was a wonderful tennis player. And they said, why don't we create something where these people who are not up to speed can still participate? Because I forget her name. I want almost said Rose.
Not Rosemary.
No, I forget the name of it. But
Yeah,
she's
I
one of the
forget,
older
yeah.
children. And that's how the Special Olympics were created. So why not let's use this opportunity to acknowledge transgender athletes and create a venue for them?
Well, at least it can't be male that say they're females playing against females.
And
vice versa. It's violence is what most big sports are about.
And going into the locker room.
And the locker room.
Can you imagine?
It's all so absurd.
15-year-old girl and you're showering with a biological male?
Yeah, I don't know what school that was. What state was that? Was that California or some other irrational state like us that came up with this?
It's Europa.
Oh, okay, it's right.
Yeah.
Oh, I know it's been other places too, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what possesses these schools to capitulate like this, but it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't work, and it's harming. And again, students, they've only got this little window to be in high school sports, and a
Yeah.
lot of them are trying to get into college because of it, and it's all being blown.
Yeah.
And that's very, very serious. And that's out of the window for most of this now.
Yeah.
So it's got ramifications, personal, career-wise, everything.
You're on the
And,
Yoruba team, and you're already down 3 games that you're not going to play
Right,
this season. What do you got? Was it Rosemary? Okay. Maria's mother. Maria Shriver's
That's true.
mother.
That's true.
Arnold's former mother-in-law, Eunice Shriver, who married Sergeant Shriver, who created Kathy Abernathy.
Oh, the Peace Corps.
Nice. Very nice. Why did
Well,
I think I was
what
going
an
to stump you?
No, not in the Kennedys.
No.
I knew a lot of that. I understand a lot of that history.
So we played some audio of Shannon Grove.
Yeah, and I
And
missed
it's
some of that.
like-
Where was she speaking on the floor or
Mhm.
somewhere? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good for her. I'm
Yeah.
glad she's doing that.
And just a simple question: who drew the lines? I
Right.
can't even answer that.
Well, it's this PDI, this couple that own PDI. It's a Political Data Inc. And it's interesting. I used to buy, Mark did for years and years, data from them for campaigns.
Yeah.
And then about 4 or 5 years ago, we're not selling to Republicans anymore. And I don't know, how does a person get a business license and say they're not going to sell to a certain political party? I wonder if that violates anything. But anyway, that's when and I had heard that Michelle Obama was on their board of directors now even, but I can't prove that. But yeah, that was a big name. In fact, in this town, I think the city and the county hired them to do their redistricting. And they are very much pro-Democrat drawing of lines. And so they don't, I guess, want to show that because obviously they hired an outside company. If they did it for free, which is hard to believe.
Have you spoken to Kevin McCarthy about this? He's part of
he's-
Right Path.
Yeah.
Do you know anything
yeah.
about that group?
Well, it's a political group they've organized for this campaign, and he's helping raise money. A lot of people are raising money.
Charles
to fight
Munger
this.
is
Yeah.
throwing in $10
Yeah.
million.
Well, he's a very strong advocate of the current commission system.
He helped put it together. He funded
Yeah,
it.
well, he funded on the ballot.
Yeah.
I've got issues with this current commission. I think the commission has its own set of, it's got a criteria that is so broad that's why, because listen, we've got 52 congressional districts in California. Republicans running
We do now.
statewide. We do now.
I don't know
Well,
about- I don't
no,
know
the
about
state has.
2030.
Well, yeah, that's right, because I got the U-Haul records for people moving out of
Exactly.
California. But we have 50, it's based on 435 members of Congress divided by the US population, and then they sprinkle it by your state. So, but California, we have candidates running statewide for lieutenant governor, attorney general. You know, usually for governor, the party spends some money on them, but not much. But any candidate running statewide who's got an R after their name with no name ID, not an incumbent, they get between 40 and 45% just 2 years ago on the ballot. Okay, 45% of California votes for a Republican for almost any statewide office. But in congressional results of these 52 seats, we have 9. And so you say, why? Well, that's because districts like Vince Fong's, they pack Republicans into it so that they can make seats like Valadeo's more vulnerable. And that's the current commission. So I disagree with campaigning that this current commission is so great. But what's true is this legislature is trying to throw out what's in our Constitution overnight just for this campaign to take over the House of Representatives. And they think with 5 more seats. Texas actually has every right to redistrict every year. They have the power. They're not violating their Constitution. This state, they're going for broke. So that's what the public needs to understand. So I'd say, yeah, this November, I'd encourage folks like Kevin McCarthy is to vote no, because this is a obvious game to try to change the control of the Congress in a state that doesn't have the rights the way Texas does and some of these other states to draw that way.
And for
But-
Gavin Newsom, it has nothing to do with.
Yeah, it's for him, it's to try to become the hero.
Yes.
I'm going to walk in, and if we win the House, it's going to, even if one of these 5 seats that they're trying to take, even if one of them becomes a Democrat, and if they won the House by 1 vote, he would take credit. He'll take credit even if they pick up a seat or 2.
Yeah.
So
That's why I'm going to chronicle the lowlights of Gavin Newsom later in the program.
Oh,
Just to
there's
remind
plenty.
people- just to remind people, this guy has run this state into the ground. We had a surplus, Kathy. We have a
That's right.
surplus. And now I'm panicked because I'm an old man and Medi-Cal is bankrupt. What am I going to do when I'm 75, 80 years old?
Virtually every provider program, every welfare type program, every kind of health benefit program in California is overbooked because the goal of this governor has been to build up gratuitous giving and not encourage the private sector. And I was even, well, like U-Haul, which is interesting, that 361,000 move out. People rented a big U-Haul one way out on California and from California. And where the 5 states they went to are all states that are friendly to the taxpayer. And that's significant. This state could be friendly to the taxpayer, which would increase jobs and help people of lower income because you get the taxes from these people. But we fight private enterprise in this state. We fight the business owner. And so Florida, Texas, North and South Carolina, and Tennessee. And I've got a lot of my personal friends have moved from Indio that, you know, maybe they lived in Orange County and on the coast near San Diego, great towns that were out of here. And as they retire and they go to Tennessee. But that kind of transfer, it's a transfer of wealth. And then you have all these state employees, the highway patrolmen, police, anyone who's a government employee in California that we're paying the pension benefit of. When they retire, they're moving out of state. Yeah. So they're going to take those retirement checks that right now are in debt and they're going to spend them in other states. So we aren't going to ever get ahead because there's no incentive to say, hey, state employee, government employee, keep that generous pension. Would you spend it here? No, because the costs here are going up. So it's, I just got my PG&E bill, and I don't know, you're what, in an apartment, you have your own utility bill. Yeah. But if you have a house and a yard with, you know, watering system, electricity to water it, swimming pool, you know, which in my book now in the future, when I've seen the cost of swimming pools, I don't think anyone's going to build their own swimming pool. Go join a club if you're going to go swimming. It's not worth it. The pool man, the electricity to keep it going. My bill's $750. I have neighbors down the street, $1,500. And when I'm gone all day, I shut it off completely.
I do too.
And I know you're not, some say you're supposed to keep it at the same thing. But what gets me is PG&E, because there are utility people. I just looked them up today because I thought, are you still in San Francisco? No, they're in Oakland. Okay. Oakland's average temperature in June, July, and August is 72 degrees. Okay. That's PG&E. And the reason I say this is that when these bills skyrocket, and I had some reason I was communicating with PG&E because they had done something wrong with, that's a whole nother story. And they said to me, you know, to keep your home cool, you should open a window on each side of your house to get a good breeze. Yeah. Have anybody done that this last weekend? Did you get a nice breeze? I mean, but when you're sitting there where the average temperature in July is 70, the high is 72, I just think PG&E doesn't get it because they send advice in the mail, which of course I never read. I don't know if any of your listeners do, but so everything about the state, the utilities are skyrocketing, water's going up, city costs of everything are going up.
Gas prices are higher here than in Hawaii.
Right, and that they don't produce oil, we produce it, and Newsom won't. Well, he won't let us. Yeah, he's shutting down refineries. We shut down 2 or 3 since he's been there. Every one of those just means the jobs go out the door with them, both the refinery jobs and oil exploration. So this is very serious. And just to finish on this redistricting, I am working with people because again, in just 4 years, we're going to redraw all these districts all over again because the census will take place.
Right.
We need a system.
Well, we're going to lose congressmen.
Well, we'll lose. Yeah, we won't have 52 unless they try to count a lot of the illegals that are here and get more in just to boost up the count, which is what some people are estimating. But we don't need this commission. We don't need commissions that have a lot of phony rules like your community of interest or shared job opportunities. Well, yeah, there's a radio host job opportunity and there's a heart surgeon job opportunity. I don't see how that's a shared interest. But with AI and ChatGPT, you just tell it, here's the census map for California, divided into 52 equal congressional seats, and then we'll put our political data over it. We'll be able to tell you this one's more Republican, that one's more Democrat. No hands needed. It's very simple.
I suggested that. Teresa Golder disagreed with that because she thinks that that AI still depends on who is doing inputting.
Well, but the result would be the plan that had the least breaks of city and county lines is the best plan. So Bakersfield wouldn't be divided 5 different ways.
Right.
We wouldn't have, we've got what, a state senator and a congressman way out in East Kern. Does anybody know their name? No, it's just, they have part of our county. Those things wouldn't happen because somebody would draw a plan. And again, machines can do it. That break the county and city less. And if it ends up, whatever it ends up, it's less gameable than the current system. So that's why, because the current system, this commission, they are staffed by the State Board of Auditors, which are government employees. Their lawyer was the lawyer in the Democrat Assembly office in Sacramento. So it's not very legit either. But better than playing games with it is to vote no in November so that this change doesn't happen, and then let me and others try to come up with a plan that people think is more fair. It'd be hands off. Whatever computer comes up with, if some kid at Caltech comes up with a better, less breaking of city and county lines, LA breaks 100 times just to make districts that they can play with. So
do you know who's going to make or break this vote?
Who?
3 groups: Latinos, Blacks, and women. We had Mark DiCamillo on from the Berkeley Governmental Institute of Studies, and they are the most undeclared. And there are a lot
in terms of party allegiance?
No, in terms of this issue.
Right. If they understand, I don't think there's been much education yet, but this is not your normal issue to vote on.
Yeah.
But maybe they educated the group and then surveyed them. I don't know.
No,
because most people do
It
not
just
follow
broke.
redistricting. I know
Yeah,
it
this thing
just
just
happened.
broke.
I don't know how they survey. I think that you got to take the general vote last November. You got to see how well Trump did, and even Garvey, neither of who campaigned in the state, especially Garvey. I never saw it. And they got 40% of the vote. You got to get those voters, particularly a lot of the Trump voters or presidential year voters, don't vote in regular elections, let alone a special election. They vote every 4 years. You got to get them to the polls. So, yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a kind of a battle of who campaigns the most. But I hope people can understand that status quo is fine here. Texas has every right what they're doing. What this legislature, which is one party in the legislature, is doing is changing the rules midway, changing our constitution, and slamming this special in November so that, because they have to do it now because we file for office in February and March.
And we have to pay for that.
Yeah,
Election.
with the ballots, all these ballots, sample ballots to every door, real live ballots to every door, very costly. A lot of it junk because people move and those ballots will be in the wastebasket at all these apartments. It's sloppy to send out absentees to anybody who didn't ask for it. We had a system for 50 years. You want to vote in a ballot in your home, ask for it and you get it. But don't just mail out live ballots to every address when nobody prunes their files anymore. They don't remove people that have moved. So
Kathy Abernathy, our guest, as she is each and every Monday. Did you hear our lead exclusive story? Kathy Miller and the Beckett firm, which is representing them, are taking their case to the United States Supreme Court. They're providing the briefs tomorrow, and we'll have Kathy and her attorney live in studio at 4 o'clock. I think she's going to win, even though I don't agree with her. I respect her. I really like this woman. I empathize on what she's gone through over a decade and the way the company was treated, the employees were treated, the employees ran from her business. They were treated so horribly coming in and out of the store by people who at the time were pounding the pavement and picketing around.
And wasn't the story that actually that couple that came in that said they wanted a cake for their gay marriage, was that, I understood, also a setup?
I don't think so.
I thought it was. I
don't think so.
Okay, I thought I read that.
It might have been. I mean, who knows? I don't think that matters. I really don't. I think they were just a local couple that heard about Tastry's Bakery, and they didn't deal with Kathy at first, so they kind of got a okay, and then Kathy found out about it, and then it became a big issue, and boom, and she lost, and then she won, and then she lost, and now they're going to file these briefs tomorrow. And I think that I thought this whole thing was settled in Colorado.
Well, and I thought the state of California sued her too, and I thought, did they? I thought they lost.
She won here originally. Then she was overturned, And now she's appealing again.
To the US?
SCOTUS, yeah. And we'll see if they take the case. We'll talk with their attorney tomorrow.
I guess that would mean you'd know by next June 30 probably, because they're not going to work on it right now.
No.
It'll be next year.
Yeah, they'll start back in October, right? First Monday of October is when the Supreme
Right,
Court
but
gets back.
usually June 30 is their next
Yeah.
release of a bunch of decisions.
What's going to happen?
So on that, I can't guess. I don't know. I always see those signs on stores: no shirts, no shoes, no service. That's about the only criteria I thought there was to not do business. But
It's a First Amendment issue.
that it's a creative art. I think that's her point. If it was a donut, she would have sold it. But you're asking me to be creative,
Right.
and that's. I
Like
guess
I said, I thought
yeah.
it was determined in the Colorado case, but
Mhm.
apparently not. We'll see.
Mhm.
I'm not certain the court's going to take the case.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they get a lot of there's a lot of folks thinking we've got a nice conservative court right now. Let's get our appeals in, because a lot of businesses and others have given up because they didn't have any faith in to go all the way to the Supreme Court. Now, some of the big issues we should push to get them there, because we have actually a decent court. As long as, and that's another problem. If the Democrats take over the House, their goal is to pack the court, make it. Right now it's 9 to make it
They wanna go to
13
15,
or 15.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's just to, and then of course they're going to need a president of their party at the time. They're not going to want to
Well, that ain't
put
going
that
to happen.
up. Let's hope not.
Let's hope that Gavin Newsom
right.
becomes the nominee, and we can assure
Well.
that whoever the Republican nominee is will win.
There's so much in his background. Oh my gosh.
It's incredible.
And the wife too. She's got plenty.
You know what his SAT score was?
No.
950.
Okay.
That's not even the national average. He's
Right.
really not a smart guy.
I think you got to have 1,200 to get in the UCs, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's why he went to a little private college. They could afford
Where did he
it.
go to?
Where I forget where, Santa Clara or some private school he went to.
Let me see your mic. real
Well,
quick.
his wife fooled around with.
You never turn your mic on.
I've been off the whole time.
You've been off at least for the last 30 minutes, yeah.
You don't mean on the
No,
radio.
I've been
you
off
mean
the
on
whole
there.
time. I haven't.
On YouTube.
Oh, that's.
Why didn't
No, it was on because it was
They'll show up for corporate.
Why didn't Why didn't anybody say anything?
We can still hear you through her microphone, so it was fine. I didn't pick it up until I heard the Jerry.
Former Mexican cartel kingpin Ismael El Mayo Zambada has pleaded guilty to federal charges related to his role in the violent
'Cause
drug
I had-
trade.
God, I had
For
people
years, the
listening. I told
operation
people to
flooded the
listen.
U.S. with
No,
cocaine,
again, it's
heroin,
alligator, alligator, come down to the
Want to apologize for those of you who have subscribed to YouTube. If you're hearing me a whole lot better than you did at the beginning of the show, apparently my mic was off and I was being picked up by the other mic. So that's why it sounded so hollow and so poor. But you can certainly hear me better now. And that sucks because I asked several people to listen in at the top of the show to hear our exclusive that the Miller family is going ahead and filing their briefs to the United States Supreme Court.
Oh, like I said, I believe everybody heard you clearly up until the Kathy interview.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know how that changed. I must have hit something.
Probably.
So the microphone was on like the first half hour?
It was, or that I'm not 100% sure. I have to double check right now, but that is why you sounded a little
Test
hollow.
one, test one. That's what I know. Okay, sorry about that. That's
You
my
must have
fault.
hit the button or turned it off maybe during the
Yeah,
break.
it might have
Turn
hit
it back
the
on.
chair, this arm of this chair. I'm going to stick it in my pocket, so it won't do that anymore. Apologize. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Anything on the board before we get going?
Yeah, I got a couple here.
What do you got?
JD is chimed in.
What's up, JD?
We also had a proposition for the death penalty that Gavin doesn't adhere to.
Yeah, there's a long line. Long line. The death penalty, Vincent Brothers, still waiting for his turn. And unfortunately, in our lifetime, I don't think we'll ever get to him. The man that wiped out his wife's family, along with his estranged wife and his 3 children, and his 6-month-old child. For those of you new to our neighborhood and our community, Vincent Brothers was an assistant principal, a beloved teacher who was in a relationship with a woman. Well, actually in a relationship with several women. The thing that sticks out, and this is just how weird I am, and this is where, did you see that weird noise thing I added?
The weird noise thing? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did.
This is when I want some sound effect when I get into how weird I am. I don't care what you come up with, but just
you want it for
something.
you.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to do this for the entire segment thing that we were talking about a couple of weeks ago.
No, just when I go into, do you know how weird I am?
Oh.
And then whenever at some point in that you hit the
donkey or whatever.
No, just some kind of, no, the donkeys are the donkey of the day.
Gotcha.
And we're going to do that today because I got a donkey of the day. And you know me, I can't wait. Our donkey of the day, I don't care if you got the audio or not. What do you got for the donkey of the day?
I'm working on it right now.
All right. But our donkey, well, then I'll wait. No, I can't. I got to tell the story. I love this story. I don't know why, but it's our donkey of the day. This is a new segment we're going to do where I like it. Our donkey of the day is Khalees Crowder. He's a 38-year-old man who was arrested, not making this up, for sniffing the butts of women. Not making this up. Here's what our D of the D would do. He'd go to, like, let's say Barnes & Noble's right down the street from where I'm sitting on California Avenue. And he would kneel down to the lower level of books. He could do it at Walmart, lower level of goods, doesn't matter what store it was. And as he was in a crouch looking for whatever, Tom Sawyer, and there was a woman to his right, he would just, and they've got video of it. That's the best part of the story. He would just, okay, so this is the woman's butt for those of you on YouTube. And he'd walk up to the woman. She's sitting here, standing, reading a book or just looking at a shelf. And he would come to the shelf and look like he's going to the bottom of the shelf. And he's looking and he's looking and he's looking. And then he would just turn and be like, get up all in her booty like your dog does when you come home. You know what I'm saying? Get all up in the booty. And there's like 3 or 4 different videos. He's a big, tall guy. And he'd get down in a little catcher's crouch. I'm looking for Huck Finn. And get up all in the booty. All up in the booty. And the women have no clue. she's looking through the stacks and she's just standing there and has no idea that a man is all up in the booty. That's our donkey of the day. Hit it again. Yeah. All right, very good. And now
I found a weird thing too, thanks to a listener. That just gave me a good idea.
All right, let's hear it. I like it. Twilight Zone, yes. And I forgot how weird I am.
Yeah, I don't know exactly which way you were going on that one.
I have no idea at this point. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I will tell you this. I watched the final episode of JFK Jr. American Prince. It was on CNN. It was a 3-part series that they ran over the last 3 weeks. And each time I watch each episode, I make a different conclusion. I told you after the second episode, or maybe even after the first, I just kind of came to the conclusion it was just kind of a screw up. It was kind of a screw up. Now, having said that, there's absolutely no question in the world that inevitably he would have been the president of the United States. There's absolutely no question about that. And my other puzzlement with John Kennedy Jr. was the flying thing. You know what I'm saying? Because I think at some point, you have to know who you are and know your family history. And I guess this is where I'm torn. You can't live your life like that. You can't say that my uncle died young and my father died young and my aunt died young and my other aunt died young and one of my uncles died young. And I guess you can't live that life. Mickey Mantle tried to do that. The reason that Mickey Mantle was so careless with his life, because his dad and 2 of his brothers all died of cancer before they were 40. And Mickey Mantle assumed, and I went through this my damn self. When my dad died of heart disease at 56, I went through this myself in my early 50s. Like, look, I'm not going to be here that much. I was overweight at the time. I was walking myself into a grave. And then I realized, wait a minute, my dad's older brother is still alive. To this day, he's still alive. He's 88 years old. My dad's younger brother is still alive. My father was just a workaholic. He didn't drink, he didn't smoke, but he was just a workaholic. And he essentially killed himself, in my opinion. He suffered his 3rd heart attack when he finally succumbed to cardiovascular disease. After his 2nd heart attack, my father was back to work literally 11 days after he left the hospital and defied all of his physicians. They say the doctors are the worst patients. But then I watched this 3rd episode and I realized why John Kennedy Jr. wanted to fly. Do you know what Tiger Woods' hobby is beyond golf? What he loves to do more than anything beyond, besides being with his kids and family and things like that, just what he likes to do?
I'm going to take a wild guess here because I don't think I do, but I'm going to say fishing.
Close, because you're talking about this.
Yes.
No, he likes to spearfish.
Ah.
And they asked him why. How the hell did you take up spearfishing? He said, it's the only place on the planet where I'm by myself and it's quiet and no photographers and nobody's asking me to sign anything. Nobody needs anything from me. I've got my spear gun and that barracuda that's swimming in front of me. That's all I got. And then it dawned on me, that's John Kennedy Jr. And in fact, they talked about that in the 3rd episode, where when he's at 10,000 feet, there's no paparazzi, nobody's staring at him as he's eating a ham and cheese sandwich, riding his bike through Central Park, walking to the DA's office where he once worked. He's by himself and he's got solitude. And so I get it, I suppose. But just reliving that, to me, was like reliving November 22nd. It really was. The whole final episode was really about that final day and what he was going through. His cousin, who was essentially his brother on his mother's side, his mom's nephew.
They grew up together. They were like brothers. He had cancer. He was going to die that summer. And literally the day before they got on that plane, that ill-fated plane to Martha's Vineyard, along with his wife and his wife's sister, he was writing his cousin's eulogy. His cousin was down about 135 pounds. He had scars from the numerous surgeries, he had cancer all over his body, and he outlived his own cousin, John Jr. And it was a pretty decent, I think, documentary that it was just kind of sad. I think their marriage was coming to an end. He and Carolyn Bessette. She you think you know what you're getting into when you're marrying literally one of the most famous people on the planet, and certainly one of the top 3 most famous people in America. You think you know what you're getting into, and he's grown up with it. I mean, imagine being a celebrity literally since you came out of the womb. Literally. I mean, I can only think of like a handful of people that, even Tiger Woods was a nobody when he was lying in a hospital at 6 pounds, 8 ounces. Not John Jr. Not John Jr. Hell, he was a celebrity in his mother's womb. You know what I'm saying? And I try to think about this. The only other person I can really think about this, you know who I thought about? Desi Arnaz Jr., whose birth occurred during the shooting of the I Love Lucy show, and they incorporated it in the show, and it was front page, I mean, top of the fold, 54-point bold headlines, Desi Jr. born. I couldn't really think of any others. Even from famous couples, I couldn't really think of anybody who was a celebrity at birth. The salute when John Jr. was 3 years old at his dad's funeral, which happened 2 days before his 4th birthday. Kennedy's birthday is like the 25th. His dad died on the 22nd of November. But it was an interesting documentary. If you get a chance to watch it, I'm sure CNN will air it again. It's the only thing that's getting ratings on that damn channel. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Who you got?
Daily Dave's on the line.
Dave, what's really going on? You were really beginning to earn your name, Jackson.
That you're covering the JFK or Junior. You're right. What you say about him and Tiger Woods. You know, either in the airplane or down below in the ocean, they had solitude.
Yep.
Well, but let's hope that our Dodgers keep it solid. I'm glad they won the last game. That's going to be big at the end of the year, and I feel good.
I wish I shared your emotions. I think we'll win the division. I'm not worried about the Padres. I'm worried about the Tigers. I'm worried about the Phillies. I'm worried about who else am I worried about, Chris?
Brewers.
Ooh, definitely worried about the Brewers.
Believe it or not,
who swept us in Wisconsin for the first time in Major League Baseball history. So I'm not worried about the division. I just don't know how they can put Michael Conforto in during the playoffs. I don't know how they're gonna play these guys that are all.
We're going to get Tommy back. We're going to get Kike back. We're going to get Muncy back, and we'll solidify. That's my hope and what I believe.
That is true. There's nobody in baseball has experienced the injuries that this club has endured. And Muncy is a big part of it because he's that guy in that 5 or 6 hole that can knock in runs. Because after the top 3 or 4, the batting average just dips into the hundreds, and that just ain't going to get it done.
Yeah, and when Muncy went down on the 3,000 strike, I was like, our season's over. Muncy's getting ready to carry this team into August and September. I was glad to see that he came back. And you know who I'm glad he hit a home run the other night? The little catcher. And he's not so little. He's just a little stud.
What's his name? Rushing?
Rushing.
Rushing?
Rush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big home run, actually.
That was huge. And Freddie's hitting the ball again. The one I'm worried about now is our other catcher. He's in a little bit of a slump, but he'll come out of it. And
He's in a big slump. Yeah. Went from.
How's your feet feeling? How's your mom doing?
Mom is doing well. My feet are doing better. We'll see. I'm going to try to play some golf this weekend, but I've said that before, so we'll see what happens. 2 months without swinging a golf club on a golf course. It's
Don't feel bad. I was out of pickleball for like 7 to 9 months.
Oh, God forbid.
Yeah, I'm just now getting back.
Oh, good for you. And I'm totally being sarcastic, Dave.
I know, brother. Hey,
Take up ping pong, Dave.
On the Kennedy.
Take up ping pong.
I play ping pong too.
Yeah. All right, sir. Always good to hear from you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Daily Dave really starting to earn his his nickname. Yeah. What are you gonna do? Quick timeout. We'll check the board, see what you all are talking about. Get into the 5. We got several topics that we have scheduled to talk about that I haven't gotten to yet. We'll talk about the branding. I've got some numbers, and you will hear from the Cracker Barrel CEO, Julie Masino, who since her tenure has begun, stock has dropped at CB by some 45%. And they're tripling down on the changes that they've made. We'll get into that. Give you the details on Yoruba, as Kathy tightened me up, Yoruba High School, who has a biological male that identifies as a woman on its volleyball team. And now other teams refuse to play them and they're forfeiting. Once again, transgenderism in female sports is hurting female athletes. Seniors on that club just lost 3 games out of their season. It's just not right. It's just not right. You're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1.
Got KC right here. You want to do it?
Is the one you have generic?
It's newer, yeah. It's the one I put in there for you last week.
And then I have to reply to Tina.
Regarding?
She had, well, not her, but Debbie has this Greek comedian coming in for the Greek food thing. They want to get him on the radio. Me and Jay were talking about it right now because they're gonna put him on Scott. You cool with Wednesday or Friday?
Friday.
Yeah. I'll pull it out there for them. Say we can do Friday at 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
To tell you about Casey Steakhouse. You guys voted them best steakhouse in the recent Bakersfield, California poll. And I always like to remind you that the menu is completely expanded, that if you go with a large group, as many of you do to celebrate birthdays or anniversaries, not everybody has to have red meat. Chef Daniel's done a wonderful job with the lobster mac and cheese, the different fish dishes, even some Italian dishes like the fettuccine Alfredo that's got me limping around Kern County. Where would you rather be than on F Street, KC Steakhouse?
Hi, I'm Rick Sorsey, certified kitchen and bath designer and owner of Stockdale Kitchen and Bath. A style and function. We work with top quality American-made cabinet brands like Waypoint, Diamond, Medallion to ensure long-lasting beauty and craftsmanship. If you're ready to turn your vision into reality, let's design something amazing together. Call Stockdale Kitchen and Bath at 661-834-3333 or visit StockdaleKitchenandBath.com today. Stockdale Kitchen and Bath. Beautiful cabinetry, smart design.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV, RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the mountains or go pick up your dry cleaning? RV wins! Are we cleaning the gutters or taking the RV camping? RV wins! Are we getting a new passport or cruising up the coast? RV wins! Don't forget, you got that trip to Sweden coming up. Oh, yeah, passport, then RV.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states and situations.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox.
$14 million raise. He's going to earn $30 million this season after negotiations stalled multiple times. The Bengals announced Monday they've agreed on a new deal with Hendrickson that will reportedly give him a $14 million raise. I said that. The agreement ends a month long. Who cares about that? Hendrickson's in the final year of his contract when he was set to make $15.8 million in base salary. The new agreement will boost his salary to $30 million, making him one of the highest paid defenders in 2025.
Well deserved.
Yes, it is. Why am I disappointed? Because there was an NFL official, not a referee, an NFL official, an official muckety-muck with NFL, who reported that the Raiders were in talks with Trey Hendrickson, and if there wasn't a deal made, that they would likely, give him the Tropicana. I don't even think the Tropicana exists anymore, but anyway, I was kind of looking forward to seeing him and Max on each side. Boy, howdy, that'd have been a nice deal. I don't have a lot of time before we get to the 5 o'clock. Hey, Siri, show me the Dodger schedule. Check this out. Check this out. This is the only thing that's got me, Daily Dave, excited about what 30 games left. We got 3 games with the Reds beginning tonight at 7:10 at home. Then we go to Arizona. We should be able to handle them. Then we go to, we're at home against Arizona, I should say. Then we've got 3 games with the Pirates, 3 games with the Orioles, 3 games with the Rockies, who we just split with, which should have swept. Then we get the stinky, smelly Giants. All right, 3 games with Philly in the middle of September. That's going to be a tough series. And then we wrap up with a 4-game set with the Giants. That's got to be 3 out of 4. Diamondbacks again. That's got to be at least 2 out of 3. And we end the season with Seattle, which will be a tough series, but that's a pretty soft schedule. Now, I haven't looked at the Padres and what they're doing. I'll take a look at that maybe in the 5 o'clock hour, but this is ours for the taking. And it's just that you never know what team's going to show up. I mean, Friday, we couldn't get a hit to save our lives, despite the fact it wasn't Saturday. It was one of those days where we had the starter on the ropes in the first inning. In the top of the first inning, he threw 30 pitches. We had the bases loaded, got 1 run, and then couldn't hit water if we fell out of a boat for the remainder of the game after this guy. Because when your starter throws 30 pitches in the first inning, he shouldn't see the fourth inning. But we went 1, 2, 3 in the second, 1, 2, 3 in the third, and now his number of pitches is back on schedule. And I think he ended up going 7 innings, and we didn't, barely put the ball in play. And then the very next night, last night, or yesterday afternoon, we scored 8 runs and hit like 4 home runs. Freddie hit 2 himself. Rushing hit 1. And Shohei, who's been in a slump, tomahawked a fastball over his head in the right center. Go figure. Final hour of the broadcast at CRBS. I'd stick around if I you.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. In his latest anti-crime push, President Trump is taking aim at cashless bail. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
The president argues that cashless bail, the policy of allowing people to be released from jail without paying any money before trial, leads to more crime.
We're ending it, but we're starting by ending it in D.C.
His executive order will stop it in Washington, D.C., where he has federal authority. He's also threatening to withhold or revoke federal funding to local and state governments that offer cashless bail. Greg Clugston, Washington.
There's been a public letter of dissent calling out cuts to FEMA.
More than 180 current and former FEMA employees have published a letter warning of potential disaster due to cuts in the agency. The letter coincides with the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, highlighting concerns about management and capacity at FEMA. It warns that current practices echo conditions that the Post-Katrina Emergency Management Reform Act aimed to prevent. The letter criticizes policies like expenditure approval and reassignment of staff to ICE. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
President Trump has signed an executive order directing the Justice Department to prosecute people for burning the American flag. This action challenges a 1989 Supreme Court ruling that protects flag burning as political expression. Trump argues flag burning incites violence and should result in a 1-year jail sentence. The order also instructs the Attorney General to challenge the 1989 ruling. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 349 points, the Nasdaq dropped 47, the S&P down by 27. More at townhall.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WEALTH25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WEALTH25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WEALTH25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Bill Robbins. The Little Fire has burned over 2,500 acres in the Kern County Canyon. The fire started after a crash along Highway 178. Firefighters being challenged by steep terrain, dry fuels, and the unpredictability of where the fire could turn next. Highway 178 was reopened just before 5 o'clock Sunday afternoon, but had to be closed again due to a mudslide. Old Kern Canyon Road had been the alternate route, but was hit by flash flooding. A suspected DUI crash has left 1 person dead and 2 injured. Bakersfield police reported to Panama Lane and Stein Road at around 1:20 Saturday morning for a call about a 2-vehicle crash. As officers were investigating, 2 drivers went through the police barricade. They were arrested. On scene, officers found 2 cars with bad damage. A woman in her 20s was thrown out of the car in the crash and found in the roadway badly hurt. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Officers believe speed and alcohol were factors in the crash. The Kern County coroners ruled the hot car death of a child as accidental. They determined that 1-year-old Emilio Gutierrez died of heat stroke. Even so, the mother, Maya Hernandez, is facing first-degree murder charges. She left Emilio and another child in the car for hours while she went to a medical spa. The baby died as a result of continued heat exposure inside the car. The Kern County Sheriff's Office is holding a civilian hiring event today. It's being held from 3 to 6 p.m. at the County Admin Office at 1115 Truxton Avenue in Bakersfield. KCSO is looking for applicants for positions such as dispatcher, sheriff's record supervisor, and deputy public administrator. Yes. Candidates can also apply online at kcsojobs.org. I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180. KERN.
Keep to What do you think? This is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? Yeah, please. You're going to get up close like this. Bing, you blow their brains all over your nice side league suit. I got two. I don't care.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make your call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376.
Exactly.
Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Monday, 25th day of August. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 FM and 1180 AM. I'm incapable of doing two things at once, and I'm trying to do that. Lots to do with the final hour of the broadcast. Got some miscellaneous news and notes we'll get into. Talk about Urupa High School and people down in Florida supporting the illegal immigrant who caused that, the truck driver who tried to make a U-turn on the freeway from one side of the freeway from the south to the north and ended up killing 3 people. He's got 2.8 million supporters. Like, what is going on? Supporting criminals. Luigi Mangione is a heartthrob. He shot a man in the back, allegedly, despite the fact that we've all seen the video of him doing it. And he's beloved. He's beloved. People are spending money and busting their hump to get out a pair of brothers who shot their parents in the face. Well, actually, that's not true. They just shot their mother in the face with a shotgun. They shot the father in the back of the skull and blew his head off. Because, of course, they were trying to make it look like a mafioso hit. That's why they shot them both in the knees before they killed them. So essentially, they tortured their parents. You imagine getting shot in the knees and looking up and it's your sons? It's the 2 human beings that you brought into your life, and you're bleeding out from the knees in excruciating pain, and you look up and it's Frankenstein. It's Frankenstein and his little brother. And as you're bleeding out, knowing that you're about to die, both of them had to have been able to say at some point, I created these 2. Look at the monsters that we've created. And then, of course, they were shot in the back. And just to make sure Dad died, they put the muzzle of the shotgun at the base of his skull and blew his head off. And then as Kitty, the mother who brought them into this world, was scrambling on the floor in excruciating pain, they went out to the Beverly Hills driveway and reloaded, came back and put the muzzle. They didn't, that's the thing that I don't understand. How do you put the muzzle of a shotgun in your mother's face?
How do you do that? How do you just not only kill your parents, but mutilate your parents, torture your parents? It's not like they got a pistol and shot him in the head and walked away. No, they tortured them. Just like Mr. Mata allegedly tortured an 8-year-old girl. It is unthinkable. And yet there are people fighting tooth and nail to get them free. I just don't understand the 21st century. And I think that's life. You know what I mean? I think I'm running out of runway. I don't think I'm supposed to, at my age, understand what's going on. That's the only thing I can deduce. Because they're just simple things that go on in this world that I just can't get my brain around. And I consider myself an above average intelligence. No genius by any means. Not extremely bright, but I ain't stupid. But I can't figure out the 21st century. I really can't. 842-5376, 842-KERN. What do you got on the board?
Bottom line, though, Texas was sued and was required by the court to redistrict. They were forced to have to do it now. No other state in the country, though, has to. They're just choosing to.
What's that got to do with us? We're violating the Constitution. We're violating the will of the people. We're violating 61% of the people. And again, it's got nothing to do with legislation. Are you guys really that naive that you really think that this is about Gavin Newsom wanting to get even with Texas? Or is this Gavin Newsom knows? He's not very bright. And like I've always said, extremely intelligent people can be stupid. And people of average intelligence can be cunning. They can figure out the shortcuts in life. We normally call them criminals. Because by definition, criminals aren't intelligent, but they can be cunning. They can be sly. They have mentors that show them the shortcuts through life. And don't forget, Gavin Newsom's aunt is Nancy Pelosi. Talk about shortcuts in life. Talk about insider trading. Talk about taking a job where you're making $175,000 and you are worth tens of millions of dollars. You don't have to be that intelligent to be cunning, to be sly, to be slick. Anybody who's deceitful and who knows how to cut corners can do that. It doesn't take intelligence. It really doesn't. It just takes a sinister mind and the ability to think like a criminal. And I'm not accusing Gavin Newsom of being a criminal. I just think he thinks like a criminal. And this is an injustice. And if it were any other Republican in the White House other than Donald Trump, I don't think the Californians would be in favor of this thing. The only thing that is fueling this redistricting is they attribute Texas's move to Trump, which is true. That's accurate. Governor Abbott was taking orders from Donald Trump. I'm willing to concede that. And I'm willing to concede, as other Republicans have, that what Texas has done is wrong. We should wait for the census. But two wrongs don't make a right, and our wrong is even greater given the fact that we voted on this 15 years ago. And Kathy doesn't like it, but this certainly beats the alternative. You know what I'm saying? What else you got?
What do you think about Venezuela American troops?
What do I think of Venezuelan American troops? I don't understand the question.
I'm not sure on that one either.
I can't answer that question. I don't know what a Venezuelan American troop is. If you could further explain, I'd be willing to opine, but I don't comprehend. What else you got?
The military equipment that was left behind in Afghanistan is starting to show up in Mexico.
Of course it is. It's all over the world. Bagram Air Base just left it The damage that Joe Biden has done to this country is just now beginning to rear its ugly head. And it's amazing. It's amazing to look back now and have a comparison and to see how bad, how incredibly incompetent that administration was, and how the Democrats still haven't gotten it. They honestly believe that they can win the midterms, which they should. Historically, a first-term president, and again, I know he's not a first-term president, but technically he is. And historically, you got to go back to George Walker Bush in 2002 to the last time that a incoming president, a first-term president or an incoming president won the midterms. And the only reason Bush won the midterms is because his approval rating was at about 156%. And the only reason that his approval rating is at 156% is because it was right after 9/11. And he handled it well. That speech that he gave from the site, "They'll hear us soon." There was something, a construction worker was yelling in the back, and he asked, "Can you hear me?" And I think they said yes or no, it doesn't matter. And he said, "Well, the people that did this will hear us soon." And then he went to Yankee Stadium and with a bulletproof vest on and being harassed by Derek Jeter, who ran into him down in the clubhouse. And about 15 minutes, George Bush tells the story. I've heard Jeter tell it as well. But George Bush told the story that he's down in the clubhouse and he's throwing. And Jeter walks by and he says, "Derek, you got any advice?" And Derek tells him, "It's better to throw it high than to bounce it." So you'd be better off throwing it to the backstop than bouncing it. You can't bounce it. And he told him, you can't go to the base of the mound. You got to go to the rubber. And he did. And with the Secret Service, with white knuckles, scared to death that somebody was going to shoot at him, George, who was a cheerleader in college, by the way, did you know that? There's this big controversy about the female or the male cheerleader. It's a little different. You know, back then in the 20th century, when there were male cheerleaders, they were more like, I mean, literally, this is how old George Bush is with the megaphone, and they'd be like, you know, doing this kind of rah rah rah, sis boom bah. They were the guys that did all that, and they were the guys that I kind of admired, if you want to know the truth.
Spirit Squad.
Yeah, where they'd be handling women, and I'm not going to get into that, but you know, I always was like, I'm a creepy old man. I'm sorry, it is what it is, but I'd be like, God, I'd love that job. They're just holding up women, and I'm like, what the? How do you get that job? But this male cheerleader that they're all freaking out about actually dresses like in short shorts and is actually doing the cheers, and they're all freaked out about that. But George Walker Bush was a male cheerleader. There are several well-known males of the 20th century that were male collegiate cheerleaders. But I digress. He got up there, Yankee Stadium, bulletproof vest on and all, and threw an absolute strike. Looked wonderful. But that's the last time a president has won the midterms. I think Trump has a chance. I really do, because this Democratic Party, as I said, they had some kind of DNC weekend where Tim Walz was just trolling Trump, and just every speaker was trolling Trump. It's not what it's about. The world has changed. The world has changed radically within my lifetime. John Kennedy gave one of the most memorable inaugural speeches in the history of our republic. And he came up with one of the most quotable cliches, the single most quotable cliche in inaugural history. In fact, I think I could argue it's probably, along with "We have nothing to fear but fear itself," probably one of the most well-known and repeated cliches of the 20th century. When he said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." Well, it's the 21st century now.
And as we know, that has flipped. That has absolutely been turned over like a coin. It is now, what can my country do for me? What government teat can I suck on? And the Democratic Party hasn't figured that out. Donald Trump figured it out. It's why he won. It's why he swept all the swing states. I'll get prices down. I'll close the border. I'll solve the war in Ukraine. He dealt with issues. Kamala Harris dealt with Trump. The Democratic Party is continuing to deal with the boogeyman. At some point, you have to tell me, what are you going to do for Ralph Bailey? How are you going to make my life safer? How are you going to make my life better? How are you going to help me earn more? How are you going to help me keep more of my check? And as we get into it at the bottom of the hour, there's no person worse to deal with that than Gavin Newsom. I stole this from a podcaster who was just listing how this man has run down this state. I'll bang that for you out right after the next break. But everything Gavin Newsom is doing is about 2028. Everything, including the redistricting, the podcast, going to South Carolina, cursing. Who did he steal that from? Certainly wasn't George Bush. Certainly wasn't Barack Obama. Donald Trump is the one that introduced foul language as almost a part of political speech. And now the Democrats, Waltz was dropping F-bombs at the DNC meeting. You can't out-Trump Trump. It's like trying to emulate Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You can't emulate the sky hook. You can't stop the sky hook. You better find other ways to beat the Lakers. But if that's your strategy, we're going to go after the big guy. Good luck with that. And Kareem had 35, 17, and 6 assists. Well, Trump is delivering, whether you like him or not. I'm not a big fan of the National Guard roaming our nation's capital, but I love the fact that there has not been a murder in the District of Columbia in almost 2 weeks. Go figure. Go figure. Quick timeout. We're coming right back. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Monday, right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
It's the JR Show. Have you guys been down California Avenue lately between Real Road and Stockdale? My goodness, the construction is an absolute mess. You can't get in and out of businesses during certain times. It rotates. Nobody is notifying anybody about when roads are going to be open. The city has dropped the ball on this. Seriously, it took me 15 minutes just to get home from work. I live right across the street. I could have walked home faster. And the worst part is, it's going to last till the end of October.
The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
Hey, everybody, it's that man again, Ralph Bailey for Adaptive Network. You know, it's funny or coincidental that I'm talking to you about Adaptive Network because they literally just left our studios. That's right. We've teamed up with Adaptive Network because they are the best in town when it comes to IT. And, you know, the biggest mistake companies make with their IT is not having a plan. Like I've talked about, as a radio station, when our IT goes down, you hear nothing. So we can't just wait and say, oh, well, we'll call our IT guy the very next day. We have to have a plan, disaster recovery, security policies, and compliance that all often get ignored. And they also talk about antivirus. Today's cyber threats need layered security.
firewalls, endpoint protection, and monitoring. And that's why we've teamed up with Adaptive Network and why you should as well. Call them today at 241-0638. That's 241-0638. Adaptive Network, your IT partner in Bakersfield, making it simple, stable, and secure.
Reporting live again from the Santa Margarita Ranch. We're receiving reports that this Christmas, you're invited to climb aboard the enchanting Pacific Coast Railroad's Jingle Bell Express for a one-of-a-kind journey from the Central Coast to Santa's Village. Everyone, including this astute reporter, knows that the only way for non-elves to get to the North Pole is on real trains, and theirs include original Disney train cars. It's also being reported that on your journey, you'll pass through wonderful wonders of Christmas lights and sights. Then when you arrive at Santa's Village, there will be a captivating Christmas-themed magic show, a charming Christmas market, adorable pony rides, and more food, fun, and frivolity than ever. This just in, a reminder that the Jingle Bell Express only runs for a limited time from November 28th to December 21st. And tickets sell out fast. But don't worry if your plans change, because this reporter has it on good authority that your tickets can change too. So make sure you reserve your seats on the Jingle Bell Express by going to Christmas@themargarita.com before the Christmas train passes you by.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans?
Hey, what was the name of the golfer that won over the weekend?
Tommy Fleetwood.
Fleetwood, thank you.
Relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program may only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it could end your debt nightmare and save you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for. So don't wait. For this free information, call 800-422-8552, 800-422-8552. That's 800-422-8552. Not available in all states, must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Saw them in concert. 1979. Santa Monica Auditorium. Me, Debbie Rosenberg, Hugh Evans, and I forget who Hugh took. And I still owe Hugh $50. He went on to be an intern at the White House. He was an intern for the during the Reagan administration in 84 to 88. Hugh Evans, good guy, really good tennis player, really good guy. And I meant to pay him. I really did. But as you all know, I wasn't around the final week of my senior year at Brentwood High School. I was in the library writing my senior thesis. I was a stubborn-headed idiot. Not much has changed. And I said, I'm going to Morehouse College. I ain't writing no senior thesis. And we graduated on a Friday. And the Friday before that final week of finals, my mother said, Ralph Emerson Bailey Jr., get in here. And I was like, what? I was going through my mind, what have I done? It's almost summer. I've been good, getting ready to go to college. And she said, do you know you're not going to graduate? And I'm like, my poor mother. She's so stupid. What are you talking about, Mom? I didn't say that to my mother. I said it in my head. I said, what? I don't understand, Mom. And she said, and she handed me a letter. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Bailey, due to the fact that Ralph has not completed his senior thesis, we are unable to provide him a high school diploma.
we will give Ralph exactly 1 week to submit his senior thesis, either during the week of senior finals or the week in which the students get to carouse and get their yearbook signed. So I couldn't do it the week of finals because I actually had to study. And so the week where I was supposed to be running around getting signatures and hugging my teachers, Mrs. Anderson, who I loved, Mrs. Wallace, my English teacher. No, I was in with Miss Mickish, who hates me to this day because she had to be in there with me, banging out my senior thesis. She'd read my 5 pages and the 10 pages and the 15 pages. And finally, the Thursday before we actually walked across the stage, she said, "It's a B-, Ralph. Congratulations. Now get the hell out of here and go to Atlanta and leave me alone." Final half hour of the broadcast. It's TRBS on a Monday on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump fired Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook late Monday. A sharp escalation in his battle to exert greater control over what is
I leave any audio on the table?
Institution independent from day
I
to
leave
day
any audio on the
politics.
table?
Trump said in a letter posted on his Truth Social platform that he is firing Cook because of allegations she committed mortgage fraud. The Trump administration has halted
Cracker Barrel.
Perfect.
arm off Rhode Island and Connecticut, citing national security concerns. The project, called Revolution Wind, is 80% finished. Democratic governors,
Hey, have you read this
lawmakers, and
memo
union
from Billy?
workers are urging the
What's it
president to
about?
reconsider.
The bathroom.
What's going on?
Just I guess somebody was using high quality TP or something like that. Like, I don't know. Whatever was being used as toilet paper was what caused the major clog. Is basically what happened. So
It
they're
was a
saying
toilet
that,
paper issue?
I guess, and they're saying that we can only use what is provided to us.
So somebody was bringing in their own toilet paper and it clogged up the toilets?
I guess that's what I took from it. I have no idea. I don't use the bathroom and like that anyway. Like, I barely go number one here, let alone number two.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how they do it.
The only time I'm usually in there is if I absolutely have to, or like you saw me the other day when I have a migraine and I'm about to get sick.
I think I don't think I ever have. Boy, you remember the days with Rocky? Where you could set your damn clock to rock, boy. And he'd grab a magazine and it's like, damn.
I know a lot of people that used to do that. I can't say used to. I worked with a lot of people that would do that. But I don't know. Again, I'm not one of those people. I don't spend my day at work in the bathroom.
I can't go in public.
You know, that's fair. I can't.
I really can't.
I have to I have to go kind of a thing for me to go in a public bathroom.
Yeah, I can't do it.
So it's all one great place. And Lynette, I know your passion is the delicatessen.
What I love about it is that when you have lunch in the restaurant, you can go next door into our deli and buy anything that's on our menu. Our best sellers are the pasta sauce, Luigi seasoning, freshly sliced meats and cheeses, specialty food items, and of course, my passion, our wine shop. To see plenty of details and all the happiness at Luigi's, go to our social media at Shop Luigi's on Facebook or Luigi's Bakersfield on Instagram.
Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen, where friends meet.
Tuesday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show, the absolute latest on redistricting, what is going to happen in California and other states now that Texas has undertaken a major redistrict that favors Republicans. Plus, we will dive into Trump's war on crime, the success that he has had, and the impact on violent crime. All that and more, Tuesday edition, Clay and Buck.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The Charlie Kirk Show. Weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
Poor little rich girl.
Oh, yeah.
Bewitched girl.
Get rid of all that old Tony Bennett.
Really?
Old Tony Bennett doesn't it sound horrible? I mean, I don't like the song, and I don't like a young Tony Bennett. And it just sounds like that was cut in like 1910, doesn't it? I ran into a real cool picture that Shannon Grove, State Senator Shannon Grove, posted. It is of Derek Carr, his lovely wife, and his 4 beautiful kids. He's got like the perfect family. He's like the family that I would have wanted. 3 boys and a girl. You know what I'm saying? Because the 3 boys would look out for the baby girl.
Yep.
And the boys
all play with each other. So you don't
yes,
necessarily
and you
have to
can
worry
kind of
about
just and you can kind of just take a deep breath, and all you got to do is start with the first boy and pray that the other boys want to be like their older brother. That's the key. You know, it's like the Kelsey family. Travis Kelsey will tell you he would be nothing if it weren't for Jason. That Jason was the guy that he was chasing, not other friends or guys in the neighborhood. It was his older brother. It's the reason he played hockey. It's the reason he was a wrestler for a little bit. It's the reason he played football, because his older brother, did it first. And his older brother got him through college, literally. Do you guys know that story? Where Jason, I think, is about a year or two. I think Jason was a senior. And he talked his coach into signing Travis, who was a quarterback at the time, and brought him on the University of Cincinnati. And then Travis got busted smoking weed. Back in those days, you would be put on a firing line and they'd shoot you in the head if you got caught smoking weed, because God forbid, the wacky tobacco will kill you and all this kind of nonsense. And back in those days, they took it seriously. He not only got kicked off the team, he got kicked out of the college. And it was Jason who got him back, not only on campus, but on the football team. But the coach said to Travis, I'll have you back, but we've got like 3 or 4 quarterbacks. He said, the only spot I have is a tight end position. And Travis was like, all right, I'll try that. Now he's on the way to a gold jacket in about 6 years. 1 more year on the season, then 5 years, and gold jacket. The new branding for Cracker Barrel, as I discovered, I don't know, has anybody, please call the show or chime in the chat room or text Chris. Has anybody been to our Cracker Barrel recently, right here on California, about maybe a mile from where I'm sitting, mile and a half?
Yeah.
Just on the other side of the 99. We're on the west side of the 99. This is just on the east side. Literally, you could throw a rock from the 99 and hit the roof of Cracker Barrel. Used to be that restaurant that I hated, Logan's Run, William Logan Airport. Logan, what the hell is the name of that steakhouse?
I think it's Logan's Roadhouse.
Logan's Warehouse?
Roadhouse.
Roadhouse, you're right. Where I got thrown out because the guy wanted to fight me. True story. I was sitting there minding my own business, watching an SC game, eating a steak, and this guy at the end of the bar told me I was looking at him funny. And I was like, dude, I have no idea what you're talking about. And he got up and walked over to me and got in my face. And I went to the bartender, can you do something about this? And they called the manager and they kicked him out. And he said, and sir, here's your tab. You're going to have to leave as well. And I said, why? I didn't even stand up. I didn't even challenge the guy. He said, it's Logan Roadhouse policy that if there is any kind of altercation, everyone involved has to leave. And I was like, solid. Remember this face, because you'll never see it again. But you'll be the star of my radio show on Monday. I can guarantee you that. And I've talked bad about Logan's Roadhouse ever since. It's the stupidest policy in the world. And I told him, I said, it's nothing against you, but that's an idiotic policy. And I'll be talking about it on my radio show. Here's my card. Listen in. Moron. But I didn't know And this is the reason I'm asking you, have you been inside? I didn't know that not only did they change the logo from the old white guy on the barrel, the Cracker Barrel, to renovating the outside. Like, I just drove by there this afternoon, and they haven't changed the outside of ours. What are you laughing at?
I just, in my head, every time I hear this story, I just think, they took the cracker off the door.
Chris Burdick said that.
Yes, I did.
I didn't say that.
This is the second time I said it on the air, so I don't...
Did you say CRACKA?
No. ER, cracker.
Oh, I thought you meant.
Oh, yes, but the pun is cracker because that's the name of the
Yeah,
the
but what you were saying was CRACKA.
But that's not what I said.
Yes, there's a big difference.
Yes, there is.
Big difference between NIGGER and NIGGA. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
technically
Yep,
NIGGR is just somebody who's lazy. NIGGA is a slur.
Well, this is what I'm saying. I'm not saying a slur.
And a cracker is, a graham cracker I love with a marshmallow and s'mores, and a CRACKA, which I can't say out loud, is what I yell. It's when people cut me off. No, I do not. I have not. Do I use that? Cracker ass cracker. No, I don't use that term. I do not use that term. I really. Now honky I use on a. No, I really don't. I'm not a big slur guy. I have a better vocabulary than that. I think using slurs are lazy. I have a filthy mouth, which is also lazy, as those that listen on YouTube tell when I'm in the hallways and talking with guys. I do have a filthy mouth. But Julie Massino, who is the new CEO, is tripling and quadrupling down on this. And I've talked about this before. I've talked about this in the sense of leadership in companies, football, sports, where when new general managers come in, the reason they make changes is because nobody wants to win with other people's talent. You know what I'm saying? And it's true, particularly in television and radio. When let's say Derek Jeffries gets a job at WNBC in New York City, and he leaves 17. The new general manager will come in and make massive changes. Despite the success, 17 is the 500-pound gorilla in this market. It's not even close. I'm sorry, Greg Kerr. I'm sorry, Mike Hart. Oh! Call Mike Hart. Call Mike Hart.
Working on it.
It's his birthday. I totally forgot. But no disrespect to 23 or 29, but 17 is the 500-pound gorilla, has been for decades. But if Derek Jeffries were to get a job in a much larger market, that's, I think, the only thing, he'd have to get a top 10 market. He's local. He ain't going anywhere. But let's say he got a top 10 job, making 7 figures. The new general manager would come in and make changes, despite the fact that they've got a winning hand, because you want to win with your people. You know what I'm saying? And the poster child for this was Barry Switzer. Barry Switzer gets no credit for winning the Super Bowl. He really doesn't. Why? Because everybody knows that was Jimmy Johnson's team. And if you talk to Troy Aikman and you talk to Michael Irvin, you talk to Emmitt Smith, the thing that they believe is that they should have won 5 or 6 with that group of people, but Barry Switzer was incompetent. Where they got beat by the 49ers that one year, and then they finally came back and won it that next year. But after that, they were horrible. And you always want to win with your people. And this new CEO at Cracker Barrel comes in, and she wants to show what she can do. She's going to reach out to a younger audience and bring in a bigger group. Why is he not picking up?
I'm not sure.
He bugs us every day.
He's probably at Outback for dinner.
Why, do they have something going on?
No, I doubt it.
Mike Hart, sorry.
Well, we got to leave a message. Mr. Hart, this is the Internal Revenue Service. This is Michael Wilson. I'm an agent. But no, Mike, where's your happy birthday, my brother? Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. What are you, 66? No, 67. 67. Happy 67th birthday, Mike. Big TV star. All right. He never not answers his phone. I hate when you people with cell phones don't answer.
Like you have anything else to do.
I mean, but you're looking at it. It's not the 20th century. You can't say you ain't home. The thing's in your pocket. What do you mean you can't answer? Even if he's sitting down with Donald Trump, you'd be like, Ralph, I'll call you back. So you got to do. I can't stand when people don't answer things. Anyway, back to Cracker Barrel. They're not only changing the old man and the barrel, but they're changing the indoors. They're changing the outdoors. I saw one Cracker Barrel that looks like one of the new downtown apartments. You know, slick, modernized, looks nothing like Cracker Barrel. Here is Julie Massino, the new CEO.
To the remodels. I think what's important is that we are listening to our guests. We're doing this all for them. What they've said is they love the new seating. We're adding in booths, making the chairs more comfortable, putting in new lighting, brightening up the paint color. But what's important is things that people love about Cracker Barrel, the soul of Cracker Barrel is not changing. The Cracker Barrel needs to feel like the Cracker Barrel for today and for tomorrow. And again, the things that you love are still there. We need people to choose us, and we want people to choose us because people love this brand. They've loved it. I actually happened to be in Orlando last week with all of our managers. We bring them together and every other year. And the number one question that I got asked, Michael, was, how can I get a remodel? When can I get a remodel? How do I get on the list?
Oh, really?
So because the feedback and the buzz is so good, not only from our customers, but from our team members. They want to work in a wonderful restaurant.
I think she's lying through her teeth. We know she's lying about the reaction, where they lost 12% of their stock in one day. The stock has gone down 45% since she's been the CEO. And these people think they're so brilliant that, again, the motto of this show, it's never, ever, 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 ever the error that you make in life. It's how you handle the error. You know what I would have done as the CEO? You know what I would have done as the CEO? Hello, I'm Ralph Bailey, the new CEO of Cracker Barrel. As you have discovered, we have made some massive changes, not only to our logo, but our indoors and our out. Well, I'm here to say today, we have made a mistake, and it is completely on me as the new CEO. As a woman in my 40s, I believed, mistakenly, that you wanted something new, that you wanted something more 21st century. And I discovered through many of the responses that we've received from the many Cracker Barrels all across the country that you don't like it. And at the end of the day, it's all about serving you. So I'm willing to accept the responsibility of trying to upgrade our logo, our look, and our image, not realizing that yesterday can be a good day. And that the tradition of Cracker Barrel is what has made Cracker Barrel and will make us in the 21st century. I completely apologize for my misguided attempts to advance us into the 21st century. Because you know what? The 20th century wasn't all that bad. And tradition is a good thing. And because of that, we at Cracker Barrel are going back to the 20th century. We're bringing back the old man. We're bringing back the barrel, and all of the changes that we've made at all the Cracker Barrels all across the country, effective next Monday, will look as they did in the past. Once again, for all of our managers, for all of our people, I apologize for the incredible error that I have made. And I hope you will continue to enjoy the long tradition of not only our logo, but our look. Thank you. That's what I do. But you can't do that in corporate America in the 21st century. We're going to double and triple down. We're going to shove this down our throats. We're going to suffer a little bit. Well, we'll come out of this. No, you're never going to bounce back. I mean, and it's amazing to follow Budweiser and not see this and think that you could like update it. That's kind of apples and oranges, but not really. Not really. unbelievable.
Would a closer comparison not be Jack in the Box a couple years ago when they tried that whole JBX grill thing? Do you remember that?
Mm-mm.
They had this entire separate chain that they tried called JBX Grill, which was all
Oh, yeah.
sophisticated.
And they had like
burgers.
the double. They changed the Jack in the Box were like 2 stories.
Exactly, and they
and
tried
all
to
that
be all like
nonsense.
sophisticated and
Yes.
special and like
And absolutely bombed.
yeah, exactly. I feel like
Absolutely
that's kind of
bombed.
more of a comparison.
Yeah.
To this.
Nuts. But in the 21st century, people can't admit error. Who you got?
Brothers is on the line.
Brothers, you're on the Ralph Bailey Show.
Hi there. Hey, listen, I just want to ask, like, have you ever eaten at the Cracker Barrel?
No, I haven't.
Then what is the whole thing? What's the big deal about it?
Well, people aren't
like
people
why,
that.
Why are you making a big deal?
Well, because they lost 12% of their stock.
Who gives a hell about that? It doesn't matter.
That they lost
Everything
92.
goes up, everything goes down.
That
It
they
doesn't
lost.
matter.
That they lost $92 million in a day.
So,
Well, that might be easy for you to say, but as a CEO, that becomes problematic.
Hey, businesses lose that, and then they get
No,
back.
they don't. No, they don't. They don't lose 92. They don't lose $92 million in a day. Stock doesn't drop 12% in a day. Stock doesn't drop 45% as you're the CEO. Since she's been the CEO, the stock has dropped 45%.
That's business. That is business. And all of this is, what is it? The whole woke thing or something like that? Or I don't know what it is. Something going on. I don't know. What is it? Is it the woke thing?
I have no idea. I've never eaten there. I don't give a damn about Cracker Barrel.
Then why, if you've never eaten there, never experienced to sit down and have a meal, then what the hell are you talking about? I don't understand. Excuse me.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
I don't mean
Let
to
me
be
ask you.
disrespectful.
Let me ask you a
but,
question.
like, I just don't get it.
Let me ask you a question. Has this rollout been a success? Yes or no?
No.
You answered your own question. Thanks for calling. How can you say, I don't understand what a big deal it is, but this has been a failure? I don't care about Cracker Barrel. I'm telling you what is going on. That's all. I report the news and then I opine on it. And for anybody to say, well, stock dropped 12% in a day, what's a big deal? That's business. Every business drops 12% in a day. Dude, have you ever... To sum up, what Cracker Barrel is now saying, if the loss for days have shown anything, it shows how deeply people care about Cracker Barrel. The things people love most about our stores aren't going anywhere. While our logo and remodels may be making headlines because it's failed, that was me, our bigger focus is still where it belongs, in the kitchen and on your plate. Stock has dropped 45% since she's taken over. And my man is like, what's the big deal? Well, go tell the stockbrokers that. And if you had stock in Cracker Barrel, I'm pretty sure you'd probably think a little differently. But if you just don't like the show and don't like me, you can call in and yell at me. That's fine. But the fact of the matter is, the rollout has failed. Why not concede that and go back to what has worked? It's an old cliche. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Quick time out. Wrapping this thing up. Tomorrow's a Tuesday. We got a big show tomorrow. We're leading off with our judge, Teresa Golder, and then Kathy Miller, owner of Tasty's Bakery. Her law firm, the Beckett firm, is taking her case and the briefs to the United States Supreme Court. We're reporting that exclusively. We'll have Kathy and her attorney in here at 4 o'clock exclusively as well. I would be there if you. In the meantime, keep it locked. Charlie Kirk at the top of the hour. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at KernRadio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I don't know why I can't
Tuesday's
knock off one of
Armstrong
these
and
in
Getty
3
Show.
hours.
The peace process for Russia and Ukraine is over. We all realize that, right?
I don't know why I can't knock off one of these in 3 hours. You know how I made this one? I filled up like 3 half-empty ones that I couldn't finish. I can't drink 50 ounces of water in 3 hours.
To be honest with you, I don't know a lot of people that can. It's
But I
tougher
have
than
to.
people think. No, I know. I get it. Because I'm the same way. But a lot of people can't do that anymore.
My urine, like during the week, looks like rain. Over the weekend, when I don't drink, looks like root beer. It's like, God damn.
You want to bust out your promo real quick?
Yeah. You ready? 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Tuesday TRBS. Kathy Miller, owner of Tasty's Bakery, and her law firm that's representing her are taking their case and their briefs to the United States Supreme Court. We'll talk with Kathy exclusively at 4 o'clock. And of course, it's a Tuesday. Teresa Golder will join us as well. All that and me at 3. It's TRBS, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. I'll see you at 3. And today, I know what I'm doing. 3, 2. How do I do that? I just do it, right? There's no intro. I just do it. 3, 3, 2. And our donkey of the day, a new segment on TRBS, belongs to Khalees Crowder, a 39-year-old man who went to jail for sniffing women's butts. He would crouch down looking at an aisle in a store and then approach a woman's behind and just give it a sniff. And he not only did it once, twice, but he's been arrested 3 or 4 times. That's our donkey of the day. I should have made a jackass joke, kind of, no.
Admission tickets are available
Jackass,
for download
smelling
at
ass.
kchcc.org. Expand your professional network on August 28th at the DoubleTree by Hilton. Presented by the Kern County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Alta One Federal Credit, Anthem, Adventist Health, Jim Burke Ford, and Qualcare.
Mark your calendars Saturday, October 11th for the 6th annual Bakersfield Brunch Fest at the Kern County Fairgrounds. Your all-inclusive ticket gets you access to an assortment of brunch bites, paired with bubbles and mimosas, beer, wine, cocktails, and spiked seltzers too. Bakersfield Brunch Fest is brought to you by Mango Cart. There are a limited number of early bird tickets at a major discount on sale now. Go to bakersfieldbrunchfest.com. Secure your spot for a brunch experience you'll never forget. Bakersfield, you can brunch with us.
The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
I apologize. Spent so much time with that knucklehead that we only got a couple of minutes left. Who I guess is a representative for Cracker Barrel or just doesn't like Ralph Bailey or the Ralph Bailey Show. I've never, of all the things that I looked at the schedule and thought I would get into arguments with, I never thought I'd get into an argument with somebody who, I don't even know what his argument is. Like, what was his argument? That why do I care?
I guess, yeah.
That the rollout failed. I mean, and he admitted that, yes, it's failed. But We're not supposed to criticize that. We're not supposed to examine that. That's just business. The restaurants could be doing this and then lose $94 million in a day, and that's just business. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. And good luck becoming a CEO someplace else when in the first year of your tenure, the stock drops 45%. And we'll follow this because Julie Massino is going to get whacked pretty soon. It'll be, where are we? August? Oh, she won't be the CEO of Cracker Barrel in 2026. No way, because that stock is not going to rebound. No way. Want to thank Kathy Abernathy for joining us, and all of you. Hope you'll be with us tomorrow when the judge will be with us, Teresa Golder, and the owner of Tastries Bakery, Kathy Miller, and her attorney. They are filing briefs tomorrow with SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States. In the meantime, for Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. Wrap you tomorrow.
This is AM 1180 KERN, Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM, Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Donald Trump has fired Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook late Monday. Trump said in a letter posted on his Truth Social platform that he is firing Cook because of allegations that she committed mortgage fraud. GOP strategist Darren McGuire says crime-plagued cities all across the country would be wise to welcome federal assistance.
He'll
from
probably call
President
Billy
Trump.
or something. I can
Bob
always,
Agnew
you can always
reports.
tell when
McGuire
people
says that
are.
there aren't any big cities that don't want the assistance.
It's because they suffer from Trump
You can
derangement
always
syndrome,
tell when it's got nothing
unfortunately.
to do
She
with
says
the
not
issue.
only has the program been
It's really
working
got more
in
to do with me
D.C.
or
It
the
will make a
show.
difference in
So he'll call Billy and say he was rude to me, or he called me stupid, or we'll hear from that guy again. What was his name?
No, Brothers or whatever.
Yeah, Brothers. Like, what does that mean? Let me wave goodbye. See you guys. Thanks for tuning in. See you tomorrow. Aaron said the guy is a nut. Nice call, Aaron. Oh, really?